Ahoy! This is Critical Mess. It is episode 25, a podcast where three dudes rap about movies that critics and audiences don't agree on. I'm Nick Honeywell. I'm here with Gris Griswold and Brian McCullough. Producer Ben is here. Say what's up, people.
What's going on, guys?
Hey, Brian McCullough here. I recently came to the realization that since Braveheart is in my top 5 favorite movies of all time, I'm a boomer.
Fair.
Congrats, I think.
And it's producer Ben. Hey.
All right, icebreaker time. So, in the spirit of tonight's movie, we are going to talk about one Mr. Tom Hanks. And the question tonight is not what is the best Tom Hanks movie, but what is the best Tom Hanks performance?
I think I got this one. I want to start. And I'll be a little selfish because I'm designing a poster for the Bigger Picture show, and it is big. I think that performance was incredible, and I forgot how good his acting was in that.
Do you want to talk a little bit about Bigger Picture Show?
I can, yeah. Bigger Picture Show is an invitation kind of only thing for designers and indie. All the proceeds, we have 70 artists and 70 movie posters are designed, and then they're auctioned off to benefit the Indie Film Fest. So it's a great cause.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's also packed. It's like a fun time.
Yeah. And in the background of Brian in my basement is one of the posters from the show last year. So I love it.
Which one?
It is The Prestige.
Last year was my first time ever going to the Bigger Picture show. I've known about it for like 5 years, 6 years maybe, and I finally went. And number one, boy, did it deliver. And number two, I walked away with 2 freaking amazing posters. I got an Alien poster and a Demolition Man poster, and I cannot wait to go back this year.
I still believe us 3 got some of the best posters out of the show.
Nick, what'd you get out of that one?
I got The Thing, which was
Yeah.
super cool, and then I got Predator.
Oh, man.
They're so good.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll take some pictures and I'll post them on our social.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yours is big, huh?
It is.
Okay. I've got a nuanced answer here. My favorite scene ever involving Tom Hanks is in The Money Pit when the bathtub falls through the floor and he laughs maniacally. My God, I laugh harder each time I watch that scene, and there will be eventually a point where I laugh so hard watching it that I will die. There's a limited number of times I'm allowed to watch that scene for the rest of my life. Man, is that funny. But the best performance, I hate to say this because it's not even like the top 10 movies, but it's, I almost said Castaway. I mean, that's almost like a softball, but I'm going to say Captain Phillips. And maybe it's just because it surprised me. I was not expecting that movie to be good, and it was decent, but boy, I really wasn't expecting Tom Hanks because I really haven't liked him since the turn of the century. He's been okay, but he hasn't done what he did for me earlier, like in A League of Their Own and movies like that. So I guess I was surprised. And man, if you haven't seen Captain Phillips, you've got to watch it for Tom Hanks' performance, especially like his very last scene in the movie. It's one of the hardest hitting 5 minutes of an actor acting I've ever seen. And I know that's a tall order, but if you watch it, you'll know what I mean.
I have actually not seen it, so I need to
check it out.
It's on my list.
Yeah. Nick?
I got to go with The Matrix.
I'm changing my answer to The Matrix.
Nice.
No, I'm going to go total cliche here. The obvious one. I'm going Forrest Gump. I feel like it's an immersive character. It's a special character. There aren't many kind of characters that have that just sort of je ne sais quoi. You know, just that kind of allure. You know, you just can't look away from that performance, and it's just really brilliant. So I've always respected that.
I cry every time I watch that movie.
It's just it's a really good movie. It is really.
Do you know
good
what scene?
No, tell us.
It's when he meets his son for the first time, and he doesn't know it's his son, and then when he realizes he's like processing.
Oh man, that's so good.
Tear it up right now. Actually,
I've not
it's
watched
because I
that in a
swallowed the
long
whiskey
time.
a little wrong. But
Nice.
Yep.
Mine's Apollo 13.
oh gosh,
I
was going to say that's the best movie he's
Really good
in.
choice.
Yeah, for
okay,
sure. Yeah.
That or Saving Private Ryan.
It's not
Yeah.
10 Things I Hate About or 10 Things. What is it? Not 10 Things I Hate About You. What is it?
What the fuck are you talking about?
What is that movie? Fuck.
We'll cut all this
the
out.
music
Catch Me If You
video.
Can?
No, the
That
music
Thing
video.
You Do?
That thing you do.
It's
10
not
things.
anywhere
Yeah,
near that.
God, so close. I was so close as I was trying to Google something real quick for a fact.
Ben, good call though, man.
Yeah.
Apollo 13.
When he's up there and he's frozen and he's like, we need those entry angles. We're getting real cold up here. And then Earth's getting really big in the window. I'm like, yeah.
It's like he's panicking, but he's holding it together.
Exactly,
And he
yeah.
acts that perfectly.
Yeah.
I just saw. I was gonna look up Apollo 13's on Netflix right now, so I need
sweet.
to add it to my watch list.
That's a rewatchable, man.
We've bought it and watched it thousands and thousands of times.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to spoil the movie tonight. It came out in 1989, so I hope that's all right. But I would also encourage anyone listening to this to watch the film before you listen any further in this podcast. I think you'll probably enjoy it a little bit more.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. Or don't listen to me. So tonight, yes, we are talking about a film from the year of our Lord, 1989. It is The Burbs. The Burbs, a movie I am honestly pretty pumped to talk about. And a movie I wish I'd watched more closely in the past. This movie was a solid hit. It cost $18 million to make and pulled in about $50 million. So pretty solid. Directed by Joe Dante, who you might know from such films as Gremlins 1 and 2, which I think are two, I dare I say, underrated.
I still haven't seen 2, and you're always talking about
Ooh.
2.
It's not a very good movie.
But yeah, I feel like you always talk about the cover of the movie being like
the
really
poster.
good or something. Yeah, the poster.
It's the kind of the gremlin, the evil gremlin sitting in the executive chair, like ashing the cigar on Gizmo's head. It's absolutely.
I just bought my brother
so
for
boss.
Christmas the gremlin, like the high detail action figure of the gremlin with like the poker hand and like the cigarette and everything. It's so good.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Gremlins, both 1 and 2. 1 is a legitimately good movie. But yeah, so Joe Dante, I really kind of like this era of Joe Dante. He did a couple other movies. He didn't do like a ton of huge hits, but other stuff. He did Small Soldiers. He actually did a Looney Tunes movie with Brendan Fraser.
I think the 80s and maybe into the start of the 90s is his only era.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, he hasn't done anything in a
I
while.
feel like he had a short kind of career span there.
So the writer of this film is Dana Olson. And he's written a few other movies that got produced. Probably the most notable being Memoirs of an Invisible Man. That was in 92. And he also wrote George of the Jungle in 97. So interesting that both Dante and Olson apparently really like working with Brendan Fraser. He also did Inspector Gadget. So, pretty accomplished writer for this film. This movie's got some famous people in it. I would say Tom Hanks is famous. I would say Carrie Fisher, famous. Bruce Dern, Corey Feldman, Rick Ducommun, Henry Gibson, who was really good in this movie. He's very fun. I always remember him from Blues Brothers.
He's got a very memorable face.
He does, and he's just so short too.
Yeah.
You can't forget that guy.
And by the way, you're talking about famous people. You said Corey Feldman. He was at the height of his fame.
Yeah, that was
in
peak
this
Corey.
movie.
I was a little shocked he was in this for the year this came out and how
I think
popular
he was actually a draw to the movie, if you can believe it.
Yeah, I'm sure that's
Oh,
true.
really? I mean,
More
I
than maybe even Tom Hanks, but although that might be a stretch.
Quick refresher about the criteria for the movies we talk about. Got to be fresh with audiences and rotten with critics or vice versa. Disparity's got to be around 20% or so. We're definitely going to cheat tonight. We're stretching it here. So on Rotten Tomatoes, but that's okay because we wanted to talk about this. It's 55% with critics, which makes it rotten, and 71% with audiences. So we've got a 16-point disparity here, so not the biggest.
Can I caveat that for a second? When I added this to the list a year ago, it had like a 52.
Oh,
it's only got 40 reviews now. When I added this to the list, it had 38. The most recent 2 reviews came in retroactively at the end of the year last year, and they were both positive. So this actually jumped up like 3 points since we first added it. But since I really wanted to talk about this movie, I just said, screw it.
I didn't think about the rating system of how that would scale it. If it's a low rated, like not low rated, but the number of votes towards a critic review.
Typically movies get, these days that come out, big movies have 200 plus. So one's not going to skew it at all. But when the movie's got 38, and then you've got 2 positives come in. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you, but I wanted to at least let our audience know that we're not fudging it this much on purpose. This was a less of a fudge than it is now.
Well, here's another thing. We also really wanted to talk about this movie because 3 different people asked us to talk about this movie independently, and we listen to our fans.
Absolutely.
Okay, and I want this to be proof that we will talk about whatever you want, as long as we also want to talk about it.
I concur.
Agreed.
Truer words were never spoken.
So let's get into this, guys. So first exposure to this film that came out in 1989, and how many times have we seen it over the years?
I don't remember my first exposure to this movie. It might be the first time I've said that about a movie we've done. It was kind of ever present in my life. Matter of fact, Tom Hanks just has been ever present in my life. Money Pit, Big, Burbs, all three of these movies, they've always been with me. It's like a blankie, you know? I don't know when I got my blankie, but it's my blankie, and I sleep with it. I don't have a blankie now.
He's America's blankie.
I think it's interesting. Like
Tom Hanks is America's blankie.
He's got to be the perfect definition of like the career man or whatever, like the actor's man. Like he just has grown with every role, and like I feel like it's grown with us.
Oh, he's absolutely grown. Yeah. I mean, you could argue probably about 5 years after this, he really made the switch when he did Philadelphia to sort of the dramatic stuff, and he did it phenomenally. And but yeah, I mean, he's always been with me. The Burbs have always been with me. I've probably seen the movie straight through maybe 4 times, but lots of snippets here and there. Most recently 2 nights ago.
Gris?
First time watching this was last night.
Wow.
So I've heard references from different interviews and different actors and stuff over the years. I've seen maybe 2 scenes out of this entire movie in like clips or snippets on social media over the years as like memes or GIFs. But yeah, first time last night.
Oh, this is great.
Crazy.
And I will say I have certainly, quote unquote, seen this movie before, but I'm not sure I've ever just like, put the DVD in and just watched it start to finish. This movie was on all the time. Gris, what's so funny?
Put the DVD in.
Oh, this movie came out in 1989, buddy. It's been on DVD for a long
What year
time.
is it?
You guys, okay, sorry.
As I stream this on our giant ass TV from Netflix. I love it.
Anyways,
Physical media boys out
DVD,
there.
yes.
Physical media forever.
I'm gonna yes, that is so true, Ben. But I'm gonna say I think 2 nights ago was the first time I watched this movie intentionally.
Sure. Well, and I don't think I've ever really watched it start to finish. Now, this movie was highly, I feel like it was highly syndicated. I feel like this movie was on TV a lot, like on Fox on like a Sunday afternoon, like in 1998.
Because when you add in commercials, it comes right in at 2 hours, which is perfect for cable.
Yep, easy to edit for TV. Yep. So yeah, I watched it really intentionally for the first time last night, though. I will say, I like start to finish. I certainly hadn't watched it with this sort of depth before. So, and I appreciated getting the chance to do that. So, all right. So this is Critical Mess. If you didn't already know, we're talking about the Burbs. Sponsored tonight. We would like to be sponsored by Old Elk tonight, but we could not find any Old Elk tonight.
Such a shame.
So that was. I just want to say that was devastating. That was devastating to the crew here at Critical Mess. And so Old Elk, just a beautiful whiskey, an ambrosial whiskey, I believe is what I typically call it. Yeah. Sadly, not our sponsor tonight.
We checked it several places.
We hope they'll be back. But I just wanted to emphasize how devastated we are by that. But so tonight, though, we are actually sponsored by the beautifully named Heaven Hill, a family-owned business. Did you hear that? It's a family-owned business.
Love to hear it.
Not a bunch of corporate guys.
Love to hear it.
Right over at Heaven Hill. This is bottled in bond. It's Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. It's a healthy 7 years old. I don't know if I can say if it's as delicious as Old Elk, but if I keep drinking it, it might be.
Yep.
So anyway, so big thanks to Heaven Hill. It's real good. I'll give you that.
It's not bad.
Real good. It's definitely not bad. It's delicious. All right, gentlemen, shall we rate this film?
We shall.
Rate it.
We should.
I'll go first. I'm going 80.
Ooh, dang.
Great score.
Little synopsis.
I was kind of hoping. No.
I don't really have much to say. I mean, I do have a lot to say later, but as far as just why that's my rating, I'm just going to leave it there. I'm going to leave it at 80.
It's good.
No follow-ups.
We're close.
Yeah?
Yeah, real close. 82.
You tried to pull one over on me again, you son of a bitch.
Close.
You slide.
You're
Trying
practicing
to
for
up
poker this weekend,
We're
aren't
close.
you? You are playing your poker
82
hand.
is my vote on this. It was outrageously enjoyable. First time watch. Gosh dang it. I really like this movie.
That makes me so happy that someone who did not grow up with the movie still gives it an 82. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's I'm going to butcher his name, but Rick Ducommun.
Yeah, I
The
think
actor?
so.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he was in Blank Check.
Yes.
And that is the only other movie I
Blank
know him
Check.
from. And I had just watched that with Crosby this last week, and I was like, dude, this guy is funny as hell.
Now he's
And
in the greatest movie of all time,
what movie is that?
Oh boy.
which we just celebrated its namesake holiday last Friday.
Oh yeah.
Groundhog Day, number one movie, my favorite movie of all time.
Who is he in Die Hard?
I was thinking Matrix.
He was
but-
he was one of the two guys at the bowling alley.
Oh my God, I probably missed that.
That's him, right?
I don't know.
gotta be
It's
him.
your favorite movie. You tell us.
I
Well,
think
you guys are all giving me blank stares.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm wondering
because.
because, but yes, this is the only other movie I can actually remember that he was in vividly, and like he is the exact same. He's funny as he's just funny as hell, man. It's so good. I love it. All right, 82.
He's perfectly cast.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, guys, I think you all be delighted to hear that I'm at an 83.
Oh, damn! Oh, shoot!
Yeah, baby.
So close.
Well, we are all within 3 points.
Oh,
that
my
has
goodness.
got to be our closest.
Pretty good.
Please don't turn the podcast off. I have a fun Brian's
No, yeah,
corner.
we'll still have fun with this. It wasn't a perfect movie.
We're gonna break this shit down.
80, 82, 83. That is that our closest?
It's got to be.
It
gotta
got to
be
be 3
close.
points.
That's
Everyone
really
within 3.
close.
Yeah,
Ben,
very
bring us
close.
down a little bit. Where are you at?
Oh, 70.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not
It's
bad.
respectable.
Yeah, respectable.
I like it.
By the way, yes, he is Gus in Groundhog Day. Confirmed.
Okay.
Good,
Cool.
good.
All right.
All right, Brian, Gris, Ben, we're here. We're talking about the Burbs. And now we're going to unpack a little bit about why critics and audiences do not agree on this film. And generally, you know, Brian's the expert on the reviews. So what did they have to say? What did the critics have to say?
Or I just spent 45 minutes going and finding 5. But
That's
thank you for
45 minutes more than I spent.
That's a long time, actually. I probably could have been completing a deliverable. Let's just be honest here, though. The discrepancy is not that huge, so we're not going to find, one voice from the critics and one from the audience. I mean, it's a 6 out of 10 from the critics, 7.6 out of 10 from the audience. Definitely still different there. And I think we can explore, and we will find some reasons to back that up. But if you look at the consensus from the critics, it says The Burbs has an engaging premise, likable cast, and Joe Dante at the helm. So the mixed-up genre exercise they produce can't help but feel like a disappointment. So a little bit of sort of higher expectations because of the talent that's involved there, I suppose. Because, this did come after the Gremlins. So Joe Dante's established, Tom Hanks is established. We talked about Carrie Fisher. She's big. Corey Feldman's at the high. I mean, there's talent here. This isn't just like an upstart movie that no one's heard of any of the talent involved with it. So maybe that consensus speaks a little to that. Gene Siskel, Chicago Tribune, says, the script would like to be a horror film, a comedy, and a commentary on suburban living, but it doesn't hit any target. Does it miss all 3?
That's kind of why I did a 70. I feel like it wasn't one genre or the other. It kind of was like a mix of all 3. And
Yeah.
Sure.
So you have
horror
like
really didn't
dark comedy, horror comedy,
Gosh, horror
slash
comedy commentary.
slapstick.
Ben, would you say it misses all 3 of those, or it only hits 1 or 2 of them? Or
I would say it does all 3 of them, but it doesn't excel in any one of those 3, which would make
Sure.
my score higher.
Sure.
Sure. I thought it towed the line really nicely in a way that very few movies can pull off, I guess, in terms of genre bending a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, having kind of this much fun with sort of a pretty dark premise, you just don't find that all that often. So, yeah.
Hal Henson, Washington Post.
Hat Henson.
Hattinson, Washington Post.
I didn't bring my readers. Why is it not funny? It's just not. Not remotely, momentarily, intermittently, or otherwise funny.
Well, Hat Henson can just go fuck himself.
Is it funny, guys?
Yeah, eat shit.
That's just ridiculous. Yes,
funny, right?
It's very funny. It's
Yeah.
very funny. Now
I
it's
laughed.
not. Now I wouldn't say it's like over the top, gut splitting every 5 minutes. Like not that kind of funny, but it's got some good, subtle, and smart, and some slapstick.
Would you
humor.
say it's at least intermittently funny?
Absolutely?
What-
At the very least.
It's interesting that, like,
the
Nick,
very
you said this is like the first time, or maybe it was you, Brian. Like, you talked about how this is the first time you watched it with intent rather than casually just watching it. And I think if I just casually watched this on like a Thursday night and had it on the background, or like I was intently watching this and I was amused through so much of this. And as somebody that's lived in the suburbs and lived in a neighborhood and like the things they're doing, the things they brag about, the things they talk about, it's so on point, and it's so funny to me. Like the things they say, it's
I think the comedy not only does it have its definitely funny moments, and it's very funny, and when it's funny, it's very funny. But I think the comedic scenes are spaced really well, and I think it never drags, and the pacing's great. And I kind of have my 5 funniest moments here, and I feel like I haven't analyzed it, but I feel like they're all spread out by like 23 minutes exactly. Like
we'll maybe dig into this a little bit more, but the pacing in this movie is great. It's very well
totally
paced.
agreed.
Yeah, the only place I would have a hark was when they get in the what was the name of the crazy neighbor's house?
The Klopex.
Yeah. So when they get into that house, that felt a little like a drag to me, and outside of that, everything else felt perfectly paced.
One of my favorite scenes.
But I think
love
the
the
tension,
dialogue in
but the
that
dialogue was
scene.
so good when you think about the
God.
scenes, like the conversations they're having. Like it's so
the
good.
sardine.
Yes, the sardine is brilliant.
Roger Ebert, A Long Shaggy Dog Story. Did this evoke Scooby-Doo vibes to you guys?
No,
And is that the
I know,
reference?
and I saw his review. I think it was a 2 out of 4.
Yep.
I believe, which I kind of am honestly a little surprised by because Ebert and I generally are on the same page. But yeah, no, I don't even know. No, I don't.
Don't
agree
you
with
think
that.
he's maybe just saying they're like, there's not much to this. It's just a Scooby-Doo caper, just a
I
mystery.
guess, yeah.
Yeah. And I disagree. I think I don't think there's a lot more to it,
And there, well, sorry,
but I think it's got a lot of other good elements to it.
and there are, for the record, a lot of dogs in this movie, which I enjoy.
Is that what he's getting at?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. You think Scooby-Doo, right?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
not. I'm just saying there's a lot of dogs, and I like dogs.
Is there a person in Scooby-Doo named Shaggy, or did I make that up?
There is.
Yeah, you're
Shaggy,
right. Yeah,
right.
the guy
But
that
this
owns
is Shaggy Dog.
Isn't he
Am I just
he's the Matthew Lillard character, right?
Yeah. Is there also a dog in Scooby-Doo?
Yeah.
Yeah, Scooby
But
Doo.
it's not Shaggy. Oh my god.
What the fuck? Okay.
I'm second guessing everything I know about Scooby-Doo because I haven't visited that
let's
franchise.
keep that running tonight. Let's keep him second guessing because I think it's fun.
I'm really second guessing myself tonight.
Jeez.
David Kerr, Chicago Tribune. Again, a lot of Chicago reviews here. The Burbs doesn't quite go the distance, but for most of its length, it is a superbly inventive, insightful, and funny black comedy. Does it go the distance,
I think so. I think it absolutely does.
Gris? Does this go the distance?
I think so. I mean, 82 that's a high score for me.
But I guess I just
So-
mean does the movie fall off at a certain point? I guess maybe
No.
Like
No, like
Yeah,
I
I
just
don't
said,
think
like
so at
outside of
all.
that one
Goes the
moment where I
distance.
felt like it was dragging just for a moment, but I still thought the jokes were just as pungent and they were just as funny, and like I thought it was great. But outside of that, I thought the pacing was awesome.
I agree. I think it goes the distance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This movie is Prefontaine, going the distance.
It's also
Nice.
an hour 40. Like it's
Yeah.
a short movie.
Yeah, it very digestible.
To not go the distance and be an hour and 40 minutes.
It's an hour and
like,
40, and it seems like an hour and 20, to be honest.
Right.
Which is
Yeah, it goes quick.
which is a compliment. Last one, Kim Newman, Empire Magazine. It fumbles at the last moment, but this is still mainly a pleasantly nasty delight that was strangely overlooked in the cinema. Is The Burbs overlooked?
Well, I just want to say how much I disagree with the first part of that review.
Uh-huh.
Fumbles at the last moment. I thought the last moment was fucking great.
All right, so
Yeah,
we'll,
absolutely.
maybe we'll talk about that later, or maybe we can talk about it now. But I think that might be why critics had the biggest issue with this film.
You think how it ended, the absurdity of it, maybe?
No, not even the absurdity of it. I think it was the false.
The twist, maybe?
I think
reveal?
I think it was the false like ending, like the fault. Like he had this big moment where he had this big speech, and that was Tom Hanks' time to shine. And then they pulled the whole idea out from under. He had that big thing about like, you guys are idiots. Like, what the fuck? I've been going down this whole path, this whole movie, this whole week. I've been going down this path. You've been convincing me of this, and you've been convincing me of this, and we've blown up a neighbor's house, and for no reason. And then they immediately pull that out.
I love how
And
the
I
movie
thought it-
just subverts that
I
immediately.
thought it was
I agree.
awesome.
I think that is
yeah.
brilliant.
I
thought it
love
was-
it.
I think it's
Yeah,
I
but I
actually
loved
forgot
it. But
that
I
it did
think
that.
that's why critics had issues
Agreed.
with it. Yeah,
Perfect.
so,
Well said,
yeah.
Riz.
Sure.
I think you are right, and I think that those last couple of reviews there speak to that. So
Yeah.
those are the critics' reviews. That's sadly what I read. One, two, three. I read 5 of them, so I read 1/8 of the entire reviews that are published on Rotten Tomatoes there for you.
Can I point out one thing just real fast? I think that I just want to say comedies in general just don't fare well with critics.
Yeah, you're
Period.
right. You're right.
And that just is what it is.
Because of the comedies we've done, have we ever had a favorable critic comedy?
No, because favorable critic comedies fucking suck usually.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they
they're usually
do.
just kind of these blowhard, pretentious.
If you're
films.
listening, find us on Instagram at Critical Mess Crew.
Yeah,
And
I
let
think
us
you're
know a
right.
movie that had a high critic.
Yeah, let's,
Yeah,
let's
a
great.
good comedy
back
that's
that up.
fresh.
Yeah, back us up
I'm
on
sure
this.
they exist, but
Find
give
something.
us a couple.
Yeah, give us one.
Audience reviews. I'll likewise read just a few of these. Barbara H. It was funny and by the way, guys, I'm vibing with our audience tonight. These guys are just like little cutie little perfect little buddies of mine. I want to be friends with all my little audience, little buddy cute people here. Okay, Barbara H. It was funny and silly, something to cheer you up on a gloomy day. Don't you just love Barbara H?
Yeah, Barb's fun.
She gave it a 7 out of 10, but still, favorable.
I like you, Barb.
I think so. I think this would cheer me up on a gloomy day.
Yeah. I had the same score. So
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So you're vibing with that. Karen O. One of my all-time favorite Tom Hanks movies. 10 out of 10.
Wow.
That's a hot take. There's a lot of Tom Hanks movies, and for this to be someone's favorite,
Yeah.
you're wrong, but great try. No, I'm just kidding. I love you, audience, this week. I'm not going to hate on you at all. David S. Quite possibly the best comedy ever made. 10 out of 10.
No.
Good comedy. Yeah, best. That's tough.
At least there's the quite possibly. He leaves it open.
yeah.
I read David S. Barry P. This was an incredibly underrated movie. Very funny. Tom Hanks at his comedic best. Is this Tom Hanks at his comedic best?
Well, is it? Yeah, Money Pit's probably better.
Yeah.
I need to watch Money
I personally
Pit.
think it is.
Did that come out after this? Before?
It was
this
real
came out.
close.
I know the dates
Real
on
close.
this
It was
because
in
I
the
looked
range.
up.
It was in that sort of range of Ben. You were talking about like that.
Yeah.
Sort of.
So the Burbs came out in
Run.
February of '89, and then I only had Big as June of
86
'88.
came out. It came out before this.
Okay, a couple years before.
1986.
It felt this one felt strange. I feel like I don't think this is a good Tom Hanks performance, but it was very funny, and I think overall the overall cast was very funny in this.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't steal the show.
No, he doesn't.
But he
I think-
absolutely gets the job done.
Yeah.
And I think that was his character was written such that he was not supposed to steal the show. He
Yeah,
was sort of the
agreed.
anchor here,
Yeah.
and still funny, which only Tom Hanks can pull that off.
I know. It's funny that you say anchor for Tom Hanks. Corey Feldman, is it weird that he felt like the narrator for this film? Because he does look at the camera a few times.
Yeah, he breaks fourth wall a few times.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember the scene? I know we're gonna do all the scenes later, but yeah, we did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and he's the voice of Donatello, right? And that
forgot
came
about
out
that.
in '89. So is this same year?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep,
do you
same
guys
year.
remember this? He's like pizza dude. He's like he's just Donatello
Yeah,
in this
funny.
movie. Charles B. I'd watch it again just to see Wendy Scholl in the gardening scene. Lots of fun otherwise. It's a movie. It's not supposed to be like real life. Some people need to get a life. Have fun and laugh. That's what you get with the Burbs if you aren't wound too tight. 9 out of 10. Good job, Charles.
Okay.
Solid.
Andrew M. Are you kidding? One of the greatest comedies ever made. Drop Mike, Walk Away. 10 out of 10.
Bold.
I think it's a stretch to call this one of the greatest comedies ever made.
Yeah, bold
I think
move.
this is a great comedy, though.
Yeah.
Agree. Jonathan M. It's mostly really dumb. 4 out of 10.
Yeah, fuck off.
And finally, Darko P. One of the most timeless and entertaining classics, showcasing some of the best comedy and storytelling that we've seen in the movies of that era, but also compared to today's movies. Its lens on the suburbs and how people within can become obsessed with the actions of neighbors rather than bringing people together is what makes this piece timeless and relevant today. This guy went deep with it.
And I think you're getting into themes now.
Yeah, I think he hits the mark. 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
So audience is either oscillating between this being a really funny comedy or loving Tom Hanks or liking where how this is touching, the themes this is touching on. So I would say that's our sort of, we've kind of dissected the difference here. Critics aren't looking at that stuff. They're looking at deep profundity, and the audience is going, I had a great time with this.
There are a lot of reasons to love this movie.
I 100% agree with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're not usually the reasons that I rate movies highly, which is why this movie kind of broke my brain a little bit.
Can I read out just Tom Hanks' 80s run?
Let's hear
Yeah,
the
yeah,
run.
please.
Yeah, we got to hear this.
So he starts off with The Love Boat, Bosom Buddies, and Taxi, and Happy Days. He's in one episode.
Yeah.
But-
Starts hot.
Yeah, starts hot. Then he does Splash, Family Ties, Bachelor Party, Money Pit, Dragnet, Big, The Burbs, Turner and Hooch, and then ends the 80s in Joe versus the Volcano.
I totally forgot about Bachelor Party.
Yeah.
That is actually
I haven't seen
pretty
that one.
fun movie.
Yeah, it is a fun movie.
It is
I
a
just watched
fun
it
movie.
recently.
Yeah.
Is Joe versus the Volcano another Joe Dante or no?
I don't know.
I don't think
Or am I just
so.
Yeah, I don't
am I
think
just saying
so.
both of them start with Joe?
John Patrick Shanley.
Okay. Yeah, that is quite a run. And boy, Money Pit is really early in his career.
Yeah.
Earlier than I thought.
Super, yeah.
Yeah, he was on a tear.
He was on a tear.
In the 90s, and then and he exploded in the 90s. I mean, his 90s filmography, the 90s are his best decade.
Did he have, what
That's
was
when-
it, like 95 or 96 was like a massive year where he had 2 or 3 films come out that were just huge. It was like
Well,
Forrest Gump.
He had a
Forrest
lot
Gump
of
would have been
profound-
94.
yeah.
Apollo 13 would have been like the next year.
Yeah.
And Philadelphia.
94, Forrest Gump.
Castaway would've
95,
been
Apollo 13.
Turn of the century.
95, Toy Story. 96, That Thing You Do.
Hmm.
98, Saving Private Ryan. 98, You've Got Mail.
was a
99,
little
Toy
gap
Story
there.
2.
Wow.
99, Green Mile.
When was
2000, Castaway.
shit.
when was Philadelphia? Was that before all that?
That was
90s.
93.
93.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That,
Okay.
oh my God, he's got like an all-timer in almost every year of
Yeah.
the 90s.
Yeah.
Wow.
93 was Philadelphia. Forrest Gump was 94.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Sleepless in Seattle, 93. League of Their Own, 92.
Oh God. Wow. Prolific.
Right.
Yeah.
Like his
War.
catalog
He's an
is
American
Romantic
treasure.
comedy, sci-fi. Yeah, he's America's Blanky.
Yeah.
America's Blanky.
Yeah. Or Binky, as I might call it.
Speaking of Binky, I'm going to take a nice pull of my Binky here.
Yeah, who are we sponsored by tonight? It's not Old
Heaven.
Elk, which sucks. We're not happy about that. But
We almost canceled the podcast.
I know we really did. We almost
Yeah.
just took
I
our
even
bag
took a
and
last
went
minute
home.
trip to the liquor store just to make sure, and sure enough, empty shelf.
It's okay, but we are sponsored by Heaven Hill, and it's bottled in bond, and it's delicious.
And Heaven Hill should know, if we can't find Old Elk, we've got 900 other bourbons to choose from, and we choose Heaven Hill.
Yeah,
Best watch your back,
because
Old Milk.
It's a family-owned business.
It's a family-owned business. There's
We
none
don't
of
do
that
this
corporate shit.
bullshit at Heaven Hill, so we respect that. Heaven Hill, call us. Okay, so let's flip that script. We all like this movie a lot. What was wrong with this movie? I'll start with just a couple quick things, I guess. Honestly, guys, I really struggle with this. I like this movie a lot. I like most everything about this movie. Let me nitpick a little bit. I thought, as Brian, you said kind of earlier, Corey Feldman was kind of at peak star power at this point. And I kind of felt like his character was definitely the least interesting and least developed of all the neighborhood characters. And that was okay. That didn't really bother me that much. But I just thought that was kind of interesting how you've got this really kind of hot star, right? Kind of at the peak of their power. And they're just kind of this sort of side character that doesn't really do anything except sort of observe the plot. So
Yeah, he didn't go in the Klopex with them during that whole sequence. He wasn't on screen for a lot of the like kind of major set pieces. He was kind of either off screen or cheering,
yeah.
So
And he didn't really move anything forward,
Yeah.
or he was just kind of there.
Just
for,
added to the
for
vibe.
sake
Yeah,
of
like I
being
said, I think
there.
he was the narrator for this film. Like he literally told stories about like to his girlfriend or like his love interest, or like whatever the girl is he brought over, and he put the lawn chairs out front. And he's like, all right, that over there is so and so, and this is his backstory. This is so and so, and this is his backstory.
yeah.
Yeah.
So-
I think you take it. You're right. You take him out of the movie, you have basically the same movie.
Yeah.
You take Bruce Dern out, totally different.
Totally
you,
different.
You take Art out, totally different. You take Tom
No,
Hanks out.
absolutely.
Yeah, so he's even Carrie Fisher. She needs to be in this movie. You know what I mean? So.
Yep. Another little thing. I mean, I thought kind of the Hans character. I wanted more out of that character. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Which one was Hans?
He was like the younger guy,
the youngest kid.
at,
yeah.
at the house. Like, I mean, he was good, but I was like, give me some more Hans.
I
like
wanted more
Hans.
Hans.
He was a little, he was a little edgy.
Yeah, Hans was.
What do
yeah,
you call
there-
him at the end? Pinocchio. He's wearing that Pinocchio.
yeah. There was more to explore there. I thought.
I honestly forgot he was in the movie for a
Yeah, I
second.
know.
Like, yeah.
He shows at the beginning, maybe once in the middle and once at the end. That's it.
And I guess I'll just say one more thing, and this is just a little thing, but for whatever reason, and I can't quite put my finger on it, this movie did not, for all its efforts, feel like all that much of like a real neighborhood. It kind of felt like a movie set. Like just
totally.
the whole time.
It
Like
was
I knew I
so
was on a
movie
movie
set.
set the whole time. And
Yeah.
I don't even have that big of a problem with
I
that.
kind of liked it.
I kind of liked it too, but it also was. I'm not sure it's a good thing.
I agreed. Just because I liked it doesn't mean they did that intentionally.
Yeah.
It means they had a low budget and they had to shoot it on a backlot. Yeah.
Exactly.
It looks and feels like a backlight. The harsh lighting that looks super directional. Like it's tough.
The lampposts every 20 feet. Like no street has that many.
Yeah, no, I'm lucky to have one on my cul-de-sac.
I know. I live in a really nice neighborhood.
Right.
We've got like 4 total.
Yeah.
It's hard to kind of suspend your disbelief in this movie, but that doesn't really bother me that much. So yeah, guys, flip it.
I'm gonna go. It took me 20 minutes to come up with it. I honestly was gonna come in tonight going, guys, I can't flip the script, but then I realized I'd lose all credibility as a critical thinker. So I had to drum something up. So number 1, the nightmare sequence went on too long.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Okay. Number 2, the plot is just absurd, and I don't know how I feel about that, but I will say that I can see myself on another movie that I didn't like chastising it for having such an absurd plot. And so that's why I'm putting this in here.
I have to say, I think the absurdity is, I like the absurdity.
And I did too. But I guess I'm saying like, I'm checking myself because maybe on another movie I would say it's too absurd.
I could see how you could argue with the other
like
way.
the end, how he's in the ambulance and I don't know, a little bit. But
It's ridiculous.
It took off half a point. The characters are somewhat shallow, actually. That is a serious one here. I think if you go more complex characters, and I'm gonna bust out another movie that's widely not liked, but I unabashedly like it. Nothing But Trouble. There's a lot of problems.
Why did
with that
I know
movie.
you were going to bring this movie up?
There's a lot of problems
This
with that
movie
movie.
has a kind of a vibe that's a
little
little
bit.
bit similar to that movie, but that movie's a fucking smoldering pile of shit.
But
and
can
this
I-
movie is a masterpiece.
Right, but-
Almost.
Yes. No, this movie's better than that movie. That movie's not a smoldering pile of shit, but but also it is. Like I can totally see that.
It is.
But listen, here's why I bring that movie up. Okay, the movie's even like an order of magnitude more absurd than this, right? But John Candy, his character in that movie, he's he's like a stalwart like follower of the judge, and he's following the rules, and then he has this he kind of had this inner turmoil, and he sort of has like grace for these people they've captured, and he like has this huge character arc where he like helps them escape to his peril at the end. I don't know how you would have written that in here, but I'm saying there's a dumb movie with a character who elevated the movie to me, and I challenge you, if you ever do rewatch the movie, pay attention to his character. It's actually really well written. But I think that if this movie had somebody like that had a really good arc or somebody that was compelling, I would not be saying the characters are shallow.
Yeah,
So
I get that. God, that's just so weird you brought that movie up because there really when I watched this last night, there's a weird parallel.
I wonder what it is.
It's just like the dark
Are there any-
comedy. They're just
Are there
same
any
era dark
I guess
comedies.
same era. They kind of look
They
the
do.
same.
They feel the same. They both feel like, kind of what we were talking about. They feel like movies, like they're shot on a set somehow. They just don't. I don't know. They have a similar vibe in some way, although one is really good and one is not, in my humble opinion.
Yeah. Anyway, characters are shallow here. You've got one guy that's got somewhat of an arc, but everyone else is just caricatures. And actually, I think, not to belabor this point, but I wonder if that would actually take away from the movie if it did go into more deeper, complex things. I don't even know how it would have done it, but I'm just throwing that out there.
You
Yeah,
also
that's
do
tough.
get a lot of characters here, right?
You get a lot.
And that's there's something to be said for that, I guess.
Yeah.
But you can't develop them that
can't
deeply when you have
explore.
that many.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
And the last one I'll say is, honestly, the movie doesn't really do a lot. It's kind of a simplistic movie. Again, guys, I'm grasping at straws. I don't know how else to flip the script.
I think the only thing I could flip is maybe the use of Carrie Fisher. I think she was underutilized in this film, but she was also like just beat up as like the wife. Like Tom Hanks was a dick to her every time. They seem to have like some weird like back and forth the whole movie, but also the thing that like I was kind of more curious about like his job. Like what did he do at his work that he needed to take a week off or 2 weeks off to force himself out of working?
I don't think it had to. I don't think it really
It
matters
didn't
what his
need to be-
job was.
No,
think
but I
it's
thought that
more
was a
that
weird. Like, what
his
was it that
character-
happened that made him and his wife to have such a weird back and forth in all the scenes they had?
I think he is such a sort of a not like such a bummer of a guy.
Yeah, it seems strange.
He just goes to work and does his job and doesn't really. I almost feel like he was sort of forced to take this time off.
Yeah,
He clearly
absolutely.
didn't want to go relax at a lake. He just wanted to be home, which is lame. I really identified a lot with his character.
I think he was very purposeful. He was like he was just every man. He was
Yeah.
just he was just kind of you. or the dude or your buddy.
Yep.
He was just the everyman.
For sure. The most grounded character in the movie, we can say. So you're saying Carrie Fisher underutilized a little bit?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Shall we move on to themes?
Let's move on.
Okay, themes. I'll give a quick start here. I don't have anything too profound, but there's something in the theme world with this movie that I'm not saying this is like maybe the main theme, but definitely a strong theme is about kind of like gossip and like the kind of like the power of rumors and like
Literally have gossip written down.
Yeah,
in my theme.
I mean that's like it's very interesting how you can kind of like imagine these fantastical situations just based on all these weird little gossip facts, and that's kind of what this movie is all about. This sort of snowball effect with gossip.
And
right?
Boy, that's a great theme. And living in a neighborhood with a very particular HOA, my wife being on the secretary of that.
Oh, shoot.
Holy shit, the drama that takes
sure.
place and the gossip that takes place, and it's actually really entertaining, but it can go to a dark place if you got neighbors turning on each other.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We've had a lot of crazy ass stories from this neighborhood, and it's only 5 years old. It's insane.
So there's something there thematically. And the other one I'll say is there's also some sort of thematic around sort of like sort of conformity and sort of like, kind of pressure to sort of like know your neighbors and to be kind of part of the group. You know what I mean? Like you've kind of got these neighbors that move in that don't want to be part of the kind of the club of the neighborhood. And it's kind of all about how these people are trying to kind of get them in the club or pin them as murderers.
There's no in between.
Right. So that,
I think they were just all these characters, especially Art and I'm spacing the other guy's name, the military guy,
Rumsfeld.
Mark.
Rumsfeld.
Yeah, Rumsfeld. So I think those two characters were just an extreme version of a neighbor you might see that like kind of eggs you on to go and do this thing or to go and whatever. And I've had shenanigans with my neighbors over the last few years, and it's a blast, but it's hilarious how far some of them will go. And this is just to the nth degree in comparison to that.
We all have neighbors like these guys. Yeah,
Sure.
Oh yeah.
I had my only other one I had here was hypocritical judgment, kind of, and that speaks to the second one that you said. It's I guess it's the same. It's Ray's speech at the end really speaks to it.
Yeah.
It's, the normal people, as it were, being really worse than the crazy people. So it's sort of that we're judging these people, but really we should turn the judgment on ourselves because we're the ones that went in and like burnt these people's house down.
Right. But okay, so. Gosh, I want to get into this next. So I want to talk about arcs, right? Mm-hmm. And here's one of the things I really love about this movie and getting back to that speech, right? That's kind of when Tom Hanks, sort of comes full circle, I guess, right? And I kind of love how it's like it becomes sort of an inauthentic full circle based on what the actual outcome of the film is, that these people are actually killers.
That's cold-blooded
killers.
Genius? Is that genius?
I
or is that
think
just,
so.
Yeah, okay.
I thought it was brilliant.
I think it is.
I'd like to think so too.
And then as the doctor, as they said, like slowly just shows up in the ambulance at the end.
Yeah.
I just think it's great. It just subverts everything. I love how it's like, okay, we put a button on this, we put a nice little moral on the story and a little societal commentary. Oh, no, actually, no, these people are fucking murderers.
You know what's funny? I was thinking about this
Look
movie
at 'em.
when we were doing Leave the World Behind, and you were talking about how Mahershala Ali and his daughter came in, and it was so obvious that the movie was trying to set them up to be bad, and then so we knew that they wouldn't be. And I think I made a comment to where I had seen movies to where they did that, but then they actually did end up being. It's like they're so obviously bad that they can't be bad, but then they do end up being bad.
Yeah,
don't judge a book.
But that's so rare.
Well, and maybe I just grew up with this movie and thought it was more common than it is.
Sure.
But this was the movie I was thinking of when I said that.
All right, critical mass. The Burbs. Brian, Gris, Ben.
Da Burbs.
So
Cut that, Ben.
We'll have T-shirts available.
cut it.
No, I'm
next
not
week.
cutting that.
cut nothing. Fuck it, we'll do it live. All right. What's the time for now? Brian's Corner? I think it's time for Brian's Corner. Let's visit. Da-na-na-na-na-na. Here we are.
Ready? Okay, because I don't have my headphones, so I couldn't hear when the ended. All right, hey everybody, welcome to Brian's Corner. I want to talk about single location movies tonight. The Burbs is interesting because the entire movie takes place in one cul-de-sac. So you could argue that's a single location or not. I think it is. I think because they start the movie exterior, and they show the houses. And to me, the location is the street with the houses around it.
100%.
Yeah, and they never cut away to the Klopex at wherever they're going, or Carrie Fisher going to her sisters, or whatever it is. The entire movie takes place here. You never see Ray and Art like walking through a Walmart talking about their suspicions, yada yada. Love it. I love it, and I think that's one of the reasons this movie stuck with me because, the setting being one setting makes the story and the characters shine, and the situations shine. And there are a lot of other really good movies that do that, and I realize that the reason they're good or the reason they stick with me is because they're in a single location. So I'm gonna just read my 10 favorite single location movies that I've seen, and kind of get your agree, disagree, or if there's any I missed. So single location films. My 10th favorite is a movie called Coherence, 2013. Coherence. Have you guys seen this movie?
Nope.
The
Never.
entire thing is set at one dinner party. Good movie. Take a look. Sci-fi, weird, kind of absurd movie. Number 9, The Invitation. Kind of a very similar movie. 2015. Anybody? The Invitation?
Nope.
Okay. There's
Nope.
one, there's one
Two for two, buddy.
There's one listener out there going, yes, this fucking dude gets it. That one also set at a dinner party. Number 8, movie called The Platform, 2019.
I've seen that one, and yes, I liked it.
Yep. Yeah. That
Nothing.
Did that not stick with you?
I thought it was just a super cool idea.
Yeah.
I don't know that it like really stuck. It might stuck with me for like a day.
Okay.
Sure.
That one, I always think about that movie. It's set in a vertical self-management center. It's like a post-apocalyptic future dystopian.
It's a really good like high concept.
Very good high concept. Number 7. Okay, we're finally going to something maybe some people have heard of. 1948 film called Rope. It's a Hitchcock movie.
Love that movie.
Yeah, obviously classic. Yeah.
No clue.
The whole
watch
thing's
list.
set.
Yeah.
It's set in an apartment. I won't spoil it for you, but it's the whole thing's in one apartment, and there's like this heinous crime that's taken place. But really good single location film. Number 6, 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah.
Takes place in a bunker.
I actually haven't seen it.
John Goodman.
Yep.
I enjoyed that
good.
one. I remember it.
Very good movie. And I put an asterisk on that one because at the end of the movie they actually do leave the bunker, and there's like one scene that takes place right outside of it. So technically, it's not a single location, but it really is though.
Yeah.
Number 5, The Guilty, 2018. There's a remake by Antoine Fuqua in 2020. It's a person who works at a emergency dispatch center, and the entire movie is this person talking in the dispatch center to somebody, and there's like a whole thing that unravels. Have you guys seen this movie?
Is it
I remember it, but no, I haven't seen
Gyllenhaal or no?
Well, Gyllenhaal's in the remake, but the original
Oh.
original is it might be a Danish movie or something. I can't remember, but
2018 is when it came out?
yeah, the original came out in 2018. The remake came out in like 2020.
Huh. Okay.
Yep. Number 4, 12 Angry Men, 1957.
Obviously, it's a
Classic.
10 out of 10.
Whole thing takes place in the jury room. Yep. Cool.
My favorites.
Cool. So some cool, diverse movies that can all take place in one single location. I'm loving this. Number 3, The Hateful Eight, 2015.
I think I hate to say this, Brian, because I know you really like that movie, but I think it is lesser Tarantino.
Oh, really?
I think all of his movies are good. Let's put it that way. I enjoy all of his movies on one level or another, but if I'm going to rank all of his movies, it's coming in the bottom third.
Oh, okay. It's coming in my top third. Have you seen it?
I have not seen that one. I've seen clips from it, but I've not seen the whole thing.
It's set in like a ranch way station.
Okay.
And I have an asterisk on this one too because there are a couple of scenes that take place. There's a scene on a wagon, like on a trail,
Okay,
and
yeah.
a couple.
I think I've seen the movie poster, and it's outside.
It takes this one space and just makes it. He's just a master at the single location film. Number 2, strike the Panic Room, 2002, David Fincher. Panic Room, guys. The whole thing set in a brownstone.
Saw it in the theater. At that time, I was like, David Fincher was like, the god of directing.
He still is.
Yeah, I mean, he's made some very brilliant movies. I will not deny that. But I think I probably have a little bit of rose-colored glasses for that movie. I think I've seen it twice, and I don't think I think it's good, not great, probably. In my opinion.
Not seen it.
Oh my gosh,
I know, man.
I'm really.
I'm batting 0 for 8 right now on
batting like
movies
1
you guys
for
have
8.
mentioned tonight.
Panic Room's great, man. I love
It's
Panic
very
Room.
good.
It's Fincher?
Yep.
Oh, okay. All right.
2002. Before I give my number 1, I'm gonna some honorable mentions. Bodies. The whole thing's at a party.
Yeah, pretty good
actually like
movie.
that
Yeah,
one.
I did too.
Dial In for Murder.
Yeah.
Whole thing's in an apartment. Another
I
Hitchcock.
hate to say I haven't seen that one. Yeah.
It's good. Clue.
Ooh,
whole thing's in a
yeah.
mansion.
Very good.
Yeah, Clue, very good.
The Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
It's all in high school detention.
Oh, yeah. Smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
Very good.
127 hours.
Yeah. Another good
Mostly
one.
set in the canyon there.
I have not seen that one either.
Inside just came out. Willem Dafoe. The whole thing takes place in a billionaire's penthouse.
I've seen it.
Yep.
And I thought it was not great, but okay.
Yeah, there's a reason it's an honorable mention, but not in my top 10.
Yeah, it was very watchable. A little boring.
A little boring, yeah.
What was it?
Inside.
Not
Willem
seen
Dafoe
that
came out in 2023. And then I know, Gris, you'll resonate with this one. Buried, 2010.
Yeah, Buried was really
The whole
good.
thing takes place in a coffin.
really like that movie.
That might be the smallest location.
Yeah, that's a really good movie.
really well done.
Wasn't in my top 10. Would have been like number 11.
Yeah.
And then drum roll, my number one. Can anybody guess number one?
I have I know what I want it to be. But
Yeah.
Is it the Matrix where it happens in the Matrix?
No, the Matrix happens a lot of places.
Good work, Chris. Good work.
Got him.
You gonna guess?
I'm.
You don't have to guess. I don't want to put you on the spot, but
I mean, I will guess. I don't think this is what it's going to be because I think you already mentioned this director.
I have mentioned this director. Two other movies from this director.
Rear Window.
Rear
Yeah,
Window,
Rear
my
Window.
number one.
Thank you.
Oh.
I was
Got
going
it.
to say
That's
if
what
it's not
Okay.
in there,
You know me.
Yeah.
You know me. Yeah,
Yeah.
Rear Window it's 1954. The whole thing's set in an apartment. Hitchcock. I mean, it's phenomenal.
it does have one other location, but yeah.
Does it? Okay.
It's got the
Yes.
office.
I couldn't remember
Yes,
if it.
you're right. It does.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're right.
I love that movie. Like I've watched it tons of times.
so
Yeah.
good.
I've added it to my watch list. I think last episode or the episode before that. But as we were joking earlier, my Uncle Steve also said it in a later text. Yeah,
Because
I gotta
his
watch
guy
that.
James
Yeah.
Stewart's in it. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
great.
Right. Yeah.
So you haven't seen Rear Window
I've
yet?
not, no.
Sweet. Let me know what you think.
It's on the list.
And then that's it for Brian's Corner tonight, everybody. But I wanted to also just leave you guys. Did you guys have any that I missed? Any single? Because the Wikipedia article on single location movies is quite long, and I did
Yeah.
not list them
I'm
all.
going to
here.
throw one out. I'm going to throw one out that I think is a really underrated movie. Horror.
Ooh.
Cube.
Okay, I've seen Cube, and that is definitely a single location movie. I gave it like a 40 out of 100.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, it didn't feel like a good
Bro,
movie.
you should have watched it when it came out.
I remember
Yeah.
people talking about it. I think maybe it was too hyped up because I watched it. I watched it
Yeah.
like 5 years ago.
That's a good movie, man.
You know what's funny? I saw Cube 2 and I was like, this movie's fucked up. And then I went back and watched Cube 1 and I was like,
Keep in
what?
mind, that came before fucking Saw.
Okay, listen.
And like all that bullshit. That movie laid the groundwork for like horror movies for the next 30 years.
Okay, I give Cube very high respect and high. When you talked about platform being a high concept movie, Cube did it first better than
Yeah.
than the platform, and I still and it very much sticks with me. I just didn't feel like the acting. I felt like it was almost like a video game. I didn't feel like it was like a good.
I
movie.
agree. The acting is not good in that movie because it's a bunch of fucking amateurs.
I know.
It's
I wish they'd
and I can
redo
get
it.
over that because I just kind of realized that, and it's such a good concept to me that, and such an innovative concept at the time. I guess I agree with you. If you watch that movie in 2024, you're going to be like,
Yeah.
it might not do it for you. But you watch that shit in 2000, you might have a little bit of a different opinion.
Put it this way: that movie belongs on this list.
sure,
Yeah.
sure. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I got two.
Yep.
Room.
Room. Yep.
Yeah, sure.
Where it's mother and son. in that room.
I almost put that on my honorable mentions, but I think I read the book first, and I was disappointed by the movie, which I rarely read. That might be the only book I've read this century. So sorry, Room. I just happened to read your book.
We're
first.
movie people here. Get the fuck out of here.
Also, Lighthouse.
Oh, good one. Good one.
Wait, that wasn't on the list.
Yeah,
I
I've not
love
seen that.
Wikipedia, you piece of shit! I changed everything. Lighthouse number one.
Number one.
Those are
Actually, I would, in all seriousness, put Lighthouse probably number 2 behind Rear Window.
I got to watch that.
That is so
also.
good.
It's a beautiful film.
Oh my god,
Very good. Defoe is just
Yeah.
peak.
I
Defoe.
gotta watch that.
Peak
Damn
Defoe.
it.
Gris.
I know you guys have added so many movies to my watch list already. So
I'm happy for your future.
I know. I'm working on it.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining me in Brian's Corner. Now we can move on to. I'll let Nick talk about.
Yeah,
what
where
we're
do we
moving
go
on
from
to.
here? I don't know. We're sponsored tonight by not Old Elk. Which
Come on,
hurts,
Old Elk.
Oh,
Which hurts.
Hang on, let me take
find it
a
again.
sip of Heaven Hill and then we'll know how good it is. Ooh,
Can I just remind everybody that's a family-owned business?
Family owned.
No corporate bullshit. I
it
don't know.
warms the gullet.
I'll quickly interject for you for a segment that does not happen very often.
Oh, please.
What the fuck is Gris watching?
Are we getting watches?
Are you giving us
Yeah.
all watches?
Sweet.
I will give you all watches like the last episode.
What?
They're in this box of. No, I'm kidding.
Oh shit.
What episode was that? So listeners can go back and maybe
It was
listen
like
to it.
16 or 17.
It was
or something
what
like
movie
that.
was it? that
Deep Blue Sea.
We were at
Deep Blue
Nick's
Sea.
house.
Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah, right.
All right, so if you guys want to go back and listen to one, go listen to Deep Blue Sea. I started a segment called "What the fuck is Gris watching?" or "What the hell is Gris watching?" Where I pinpoint watches that are in the film because I'm a big watch guy. This movie is filled with them.
I didn't notice a single one.
Yeah,
Insanely
I
filled
kinda
with
noticed that.
watches.
Really?
And it was not until because we watch these movies in the background. So I'm sitting here and we're all sitting here and we have the movie on silent in the background. This is the second time I've ever watched it, and I am noticing there are dude, the scenes are great. The comedy in this is great, but the number of it's just absolutely absurd. And I'm watching and I'm going through this, and a lot of them are wearing Swatches, Casios. They're wearing Timexes, like gold Timexes. Carrie Fisher wears like a see-through Swatch, which seems so strange.
What's Tom Hanks wearing? What's Ray wearing?
He's wearing like it's like a blacked out rubber Casio or something like that. But I couldn't pinpoint what the actual watches were. The only one that I cared about was the character of Mark Rumsfeld, the military guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So in certain scenarios, he wears a different watch. And so in the scenario where he's doing recon,
Because he changed his costume
And
quite a bit.
Isn't
in the
there
movie.
there's a pretty tight shot on his watch at least once, right?
I don't remember. I've only watched it once and half-assed, here. But like, there's one where he's like doing recon when he's in the yard. He's doing work or doing yard work. He's wearing like a G-Shock or some type of Casio that's like rubber and everything. And then when he goes and does they go into the neighbor's house that they think is missing or dead. He's wearing
Walter.
one of the greatest watches of all time. It's an Omega Speedmaster, which was the first watch on the moon. So it was the watch that went to the moon, is what all the astronauts wear. They all give them as like standard issue watches.
That look.
And like, I was shocked as shit to see that watch because it's a very expensive watch. And so I loved it. So
By 81.
yeah, there you go. See,
The next time
82.
this segment happens, we're all expecting Omega Speedmaster. Okay, so
I'm working on it. I'm working
just
on
letting
it.
you know.
Guys, I know we watched this movie on silent in the background, but right now we're watching Ray eat the sardine on the pretzel, and
one
the
of the best
Foley
parts.
on this scene when he's taking it out of the tin.
Gosh, this is in my.
okay,
this is in
okay.
slow burn.
Oh, it's just slow burn.
Yeah, and in fact, I'm so glad you brought that up
Segue.
because I feel like, guys, it's time. It's time to introduce the segment that, this is the one that if you subscribe to our non-existent Patreon, you get the immediate time code. You just get to skip right to it because, fuck all the other stuff we said. Doesn't really matter or make any sense, probably.
And we're aware that with each episode, that time code gets progressively longer and longer. And you're welcome. We're saving you that much more time each time.
That's right. That's right.
Because our episodes are fucking way too long.
Because we know what the people want. And what they want is Crossfire.
You'll get caught up in it.
Sorry, or
they do?
actually I meant rapid fire.
Yeah,
is what I
rapid
meant.
fire.
Rapid fire.
Slow burn?
See, it
Because we go
started
fast.
as rapid fire, right? Because we talk about these topics quickly. We go from the first to the next, to the next, to the next.
We have a
And it's
lot
just-
of topics and a
we go
little bit of
boom,
time,
boom, boom,
so
boom,
they've
boom,
got to
boom,
be
boom.
rapid.
Right. The problem is, though, we started to do that, and then we talked for like 30 minutes about each fucking topic. So we actually renamed the segment, right? And that segment
Smolder.
is called the slowest of slow burns.
Slow burn.
Slow burn. We're burning it down, and we're going to get it started with the Burbs on Critical Mass. So, all right, guys, let's jump into it. I like to start from the top. And let's talk a little bit about that, just the kind of that overhead zoom-in shot to
yes.
begin and end the film.
Thank God we're finally talking about that
Finally.
amazing shot.
If I had another segment, it would be breaking down just that scene.
What a great shot. And can you imagine in 1989? Now we've got like Google Earth and like it's not quite as special, but like to start from the kind of the from space and to zoom all the way into some suburb and what was this, like Illinois or
It
Missouri?
looked like
or,
it almost looked like Iowa.
or
you
it
know?
was in the Midwest somewhere.
Guys, I bet they were so glad that this was a Universal film. Because
I know. What a perfect, yes,
You're
kind of
like,
like segue from the kind
we're
of the
zooming in.
logo to
Yeah.
to that zoom
perfect
shot.
segue. It was
It's
Industrial
really
Light
cool.
and Magic, though. I think ILM was helped with that shot.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, and that's why it holds up.
So
It's
I
a freaking
rewatched
amazing
that
shot.
a few times. As soon as I watched the first time starting this movie, I had to rewind and rewatch it. and it goes from the globe and it goes to the city, and I think it's matte paintings that they're zooming in on.
A lot of matte.
Yeah, definitely.
And then eventually I had to look for it really closely, but they cut to miniatures, which they then use later in the movie that they blow up the house and all that stuff.
And I watched that also very carefully, and the cut that they make between the kind of the miniature set,
it's perfectly blended.
It's so
it's
good.
You
you can't even unless you're looking for
I'm
it.
vividly looking at these scenes over and over and over again. I watched it 5 or 6 times, and the funny thing is, there's another movie that comes out roughly at the exact same time that has an even better intro scene. And that, you guys can name the movie?
Oh.
1988's Beetlejuice came out not even a year earlier. And there's the intro scene where they zoom in from the way out and they zoom all the way through and they run through the city streets on the miniature that the guy has in the attic.
Well, this movie.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, he's got the miniature of the attic. That's
Yes.
right.
Can
And
I
so
just
that
point
felt
out though, this movie has a lot of Beetlejuice flavor. I would say.
Insane amount of Beetlejuice flavor.
It does, and I'm not mad at it because that's a great movie.
Yeah. They just announced Beetlejuice 2. Did you guys see that?
Oh yeah.
Named
God.
Beetlejuice.
All right. Well, anyways, that opening
Cheating's
shot,
coming back, baby.
Whatever, 30, however many years later, it still looks really good.
It was beautiful.
I just wanted to point out, I thought this was kind of funny. I don't know how you guys watch this movie, but I had to kind of get a Netflix, subscription from someone that I'm related to, and sign into their account and watch the film. And they don't have the super premium, which I thought was funny. So I had to watch with ads.
Oh,
There were some
no.
ads.
Oh no.
And it really brought me back. I liked it.
Oh, I bet it did
It
bring
was
you back.
just like me watching Fox 59
It felt like your
in
childhood.
1998. I was like, we got a quick ad break, and it feels right.
I feel like that. I feel like I kind of want to experience that with this movie.
Yeah.
I think you should.
I don't
think it
remember what
heightens
that's
I
the
should
experience.
downgrade my Netflix to ads.
I think you should. I actually kind of really enjoyed it. And the great thing, the ads are only like 30 seconds. It's not like 6 minutes of fucking bullshit. So, it was just kind of refreshing. I kind of liked it.
Did you eat like a bowl of like
I
Frosted
did.
Flakes?
I went and did something else. I went to the other room.
I just was thinking because I'm thinking like cereal, like Saturday morning, like I don't know. Kinda,
Yeah. I made good use of that
old days.
little bit of extra time. So, anyway, okay, slow burning. We're doing pretty good tonight.
Yeah, that's 2.
On to topic
guys.
3. I loved how they introduced the neighbors. I thought it was just
So
really
good.
smart and quick, like Walter and the Bijan, right? Of course the vet Rumsfeld, and kind of his next door neighbor, the creepy neighbors. What was their last name?
Klopek.
Again? The Klopeks.
Klopeks.
Yes, the Klopeks. Yeah, the way they kind of did those introductions was just efficient, and I immediately understood what these characters were about. And then, Brian, you brought up earlier the characters were kind of one-dimensional, and I do not disagree with that. But you got a lot of them, so I was okay with that because I felt that kind of balanced the one-dimensionality of a lot of the characters because you got so many of them.
I don't fault the movie for that. I just felt compelled to add that to my flip the script because there was a blank space there for me to add something to.
What felt real to me was the conversation when they introduced I think the son walks outside and he's got like the crazy teeth and he's just like kind of lanky and weird. And he's just, what was he grabbing, the paper? I think he comes out and grabs the paper out of the mailbox and he just slowly walks backwards as everybody's kind of realizing they're coming out. And him and Art, Tom Hanks and Art are having this conversation. And Art's like, egging him on to go talk to them. And that's a real thing that happens with neighbors. We're like,
sure,
go talk to him. Yeah.
yeah.
And he's just like, oh yeah, he's going into his house. All right, you're going to miss the opportunity. Okay, he's going in. He's walking. Oh, you missed it. It's like, what the fuck, dude? You missed it. It's like,
And he's like the whole time he's like kind of staring at him. He's like, go.
Yeah.
he's kinda like
Yeah,
talking to him. That's a great
great
establishing shot spatially for this movie. This movie spatially is really well done. We talk about it being a single location, but it's it's a kind of a larger single location, and you immediately know where everything is in relation to everything else. And that shot specifically solidifies it when he walks out, and you've got that kind of POV shot kind of over his shoulder, and it sort of pans and shows the whole neighborhood. And it kind of shows perfectly set up the pairs of people that are sort of. It's like, all right, this is the board. These are the players.
Yeah.
We're off to the races.
yeah, it's great. And then you have Corey Feldman making it's like the layered moment of neighbors. Like they have the layers. And then Corey Feldman's at the back end going, oh, you're going to like this.
Yeah, he's in the shot too.
Yeah, he's
everyone's in the
it's
shot.
so good.
Yeah, he's kind of like the announcer. He's kind of like the guy in the background, kind of just saying, "Hey, you should watch this."
Yeah.
Art, right? Art is his next door neighbor.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I really loved especially the introduction of Art. Right? It's so extreme.
Yeah.
It's so
Holy
extreme.
shit, Art's
You
got a gun.
know what you're signing up for.
He's
So,
got the branch.
He's blasting these crows with a gun.
Yeah.
Right. And then they invite him inside, and he just is just pounding
That
just
scene
plate
is
after
just
plate
genius
of food.
He's
just,
really eating.
Like everything this guy does is an 11. He takes it to an 11.
Yes.
You know, I was waiting
but
for
it's
the-
not over the top. I know that sounds weird. He takes it to an 11, but it's not over the top. It's like exactly
Yeah, it's
who he
almost
needs to be.
realistic.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
not Will Ferrell in Elf, where he's scarfing down pounds of food. No, he's just eating like an absolute maniac that
He's
would just eat like
stuffing
that.
food into his mouth, and I'm
He
thinking like
eats dog food.
Yeah. Oh my god! I never noticed that until this watch. I didn't realize because he eats the thing and he makes that disgusting
weird
face, but he
taste.
just chokes it down. And I realized then she takes that over and feeds it to the dog.
Yeah.
He eats the dog food, and then he just stuffs more like sausage links in. You know,
I like how he
Oh,
goes back to the fridge after he finishes off the bottle of syrup, and he goes back to the fridge to get a full new bottle, and then it's half gone by the time he's done eating.
Right. Yeah.
And he walks
It's
out,
so-
and he walks out with an entire pineapple. What the fuck's he gonna do with a
He
pineapple?
carried that from the fridge to the table to the outside. Yeah, it's so good.
So, okay, here's another slow burn note that I just put this one early on because I just knew this was going to be true. And I'll just say the statement. I feel like at the risk of offending, probably not any of us here, but maybe our listener, I feel like if you don't like this movie, you're just kind of an asshole.
Why?
Like,
why
who doesn't
wouldn't-
like this
what,
movie?
What do you not like about it?
I know, like what, like seriously, if you rate this movie like a 40, like
You're
what's
as
your
tough
fucking
to
problem?
crack as Tom Hanks's character. You
I
know,
guess.
it's just
I feel like I can see if you said I don't love this movie, but I can't see if you said I hate this movie.
Yeah, this is a bad movie. You just don't know. What
I
you're
can't
talking
see
about.
that. I just can't see where that's coming from.
I don't either. Yeah. So, okay. Well, I'm glad we all agree on that. Okay. Everyone is outside their house all the time, right? And in the 80s, that was actually pretty normal.
Yeah.
it's
Like, you
still
just
normal
were
today. I
hanging
don't know,
out-
about, Brian. Do you talk about your
No,
neighborhood?
it's not, buddy.
No, it's not.
No.
What?
No.
If
Really?
you're in my neighborhood, if you're out like on your sidewalk, you know there's a bunch of eyes in upstairs rooms. Like look like. Why
Oh
is that
no!
guy
Like we
outside?
are. If it is nice, I mean, come March, like we are all outside doing something or seeing everybody or talking to everybody. It's insanity.
We're outside maybe once, like in the evening for like an hour or here and there, but like they're outside like all day,
All day, every
from
day.
the morning to the night. Like the very first scene of the movie, it's like 10 o'clock at night, and he's like outside, and he like steps on the Klopex lawn, and that wind starts blowing, and he steps off, and then everyone knows he did that because they're all so connected. They're all up in each other's business,
Right.
and then like the very next morning he's out. They're just always out.
I don't
and
know,
I love
man.
it. I love
this
it.
might be how our neighborhood actually kind of works, though. Like weirdly, like that's been
Stop
weird. the last
boasting
5
about
years.
your neighborhood.
It's strange.
I think that Tom Hanks is America's Blanky, and this movie also is America's Blanky.
Well, regardless, I think we can all agree in the summer of '89, this is how neighborhoods felt in suburbia.
I thought we weren't going to your porch.
No.
Yeah.
Well, then you didn't bring the sound effect, so I don't know what to do.
Dang it.
Okay, so I really liked the Bijan dog, Walter's dog. I thought
Yeah.
the dog gave like some great expressions, like when it kind of like
the dog got a zoom in.
squinted.
He got his own zoom in.
Dude,
Yes,
that
he
was the
did.
best.
Yeah,
when
that-
you watch that zoom in at the start of the movie, and like the neighbor comes out, and they do the quick close up of everybody's eyes around the neighborhood, one by one. And
Yes,
then they just cut to the
and it's-
dog,
and he's like squinting.
and then he does a little because
so
everybody
cool.
has a slight tweak in their eyes.
Yeah.
Or they have a weird like quick thing that they do, and then even the dog has a little wink. And
Yeah,
it's
he
like
did. What a great dog.
Little piece of trivia about that dog. Do you know what other movie that dog was famously
no.
in?
Oh, I do.
Silence of the Lambs.
what?
Wow.
That's the same dog. in
Wow.
Silence
Oh my
of the Lambs.
God.
It's actually got a really stacked acting credit.
Really?
Like,
Oh
yeah,
my
What was
God,
that?
that's
What was that
awesome.
dog's name? I
don't
need a
remember.
name.
I'll find it.
What was it?
care.
Pookie or Peaky or Schmoochie or something in the movie? But I don't know what the actual dog's name
Did you
was.
just give me a side eye? Like a judgmental
No,
side
no,
eye?
that was
Okay.
not judgmental at all.
Okay. Well,
No.
it should have been because I derided dogs in general.
No, what did you say bad about dogs?
Well, you just said what was his name, and I said I don't care.
Oh.
Like, as if to say,
Brian,
like,
I wasn't listening.
I don't care about dogs having names. Why do dogs need to have a name?
Yeah, because they do, and they need a human name.
Ben, can you cut everything I just said out?
No.
They need a human name because dogs are better than humans, and you keep that in, Ben.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's the dog's name? Binky?
Blanky. That dog's America's
Oh, there it
Blanky.
is. There's the close up of the watch. Damn it.
The name of the dog is Darla.
Darla.
Oh, that's a great name.
See, a human name. Great name.
Great name.
Everybody's got a dog in this damn movie. I just watched Tom Hanks.
It
work
is
out with one.
in Batman Returns,
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh!
Oh shit!
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Holy
Wow.
crap!
Silence of the Lambs, The Burbs, and Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Stacked.
Darla must have
acting.
been so well behaved.
Darla's still with us, right?
Right.
Always.
We were talking about big pulls for the movie. I think
Darla might be the biggest
Yeah.
pull to the movie.
No
Darla's
kidding.
180 in dog years and never dying. Ever.
Big fan of Darla. Big fan. There she is. What a cutie.
Aw, just a cute dog.
You guys been keeping up with Corey Feldman's music career lately?
Oh my
It's
God.
so good.
Kind
Yes.
of.
Yeah.
It's been great.
He's opening for Limp Bizkit this summer.
Yes. You know who else is part of that show? Riff Raff, my favorite
yeah.
rapper.
We're gonna have to buy
of all
tickets. We're gonna have to
time.
buy tickets, aren't
I
we?
might just go just for Riff Raff, guys. Love that guy. Okay. Guys, let's talk about the music. Let's talk about the music. I thought the music in this movie was great. I thought it was that perfect. It was, it was orchestral. It really added to the atmosphere and the ambiance. And it felt very good for the time, very perfect for the time. And I should have looked up who did it. I actually didn't.
Jerry Goldsmith.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Well,
nice.
Yes.
The Klopex theme was like very like as soon as that played this time, I was like, oh yeah, that's the sort of the evil theme. The brass kind of coming.
Well, having just
Yeah.
talked about the dog, did you guys catch the dog's little theme at the beginning of the movie?
Yes.
And
the
it had
dog
like
a
that
little theme.
that
didn't
weird
it?
little
Yep.
bark sound that went from like you see and you're like, oh, maybe that dog's making that bark noise, and then it just slowly rolls into like a melody for the actual.
Cool.
Oh, it's
I
so
didn't notice
good.
that.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
Yeah, good music, very appropriate. Yeah.
Really good. Yeah. Guys, just overall thoughts on the dialogue in this movie, and I'll just use one adjective. Good. Thought it was good.
How about I want to kill everyone. Satan is good. Satan is our pal.
I know that was like when the book thing, that was kind of like that took an interesting turn. Funny though, funny.
It was good,
Yeah, it wasn't like amazing.
Yeah.
but like for the movie, I thought it was very serviceable, very good.
had some memorable stuff.
it was punchy. It was efficient. I think.
Yeah, it was delivered well. I think Bruce Dern really delivered all his lines really well. I remember he was when Corey Feldman's like no tan lines, and he's like, what does he say? The kid next door's a meatball, And I love Tom Hanks. They're all sitting there so awkwardly in the Klopex house, just waiting on the snacks to come in, and it's just so awkward. And Tom Hanks sure was damp today. Like that's great. That's great.
Yep.
So yeah, actually that's not great. It's good. Good dialogue.
Yeah,
Good.
good
Yeah.
dialogue.
Good enough. Great.
So, did you guys catch the cereal that Tom Hanks and Princess Leia were eating?
Gremlins.
No. It wasn't called Gremlins. It was called
Shit. What was it?
Freakies.
But it had a gremlin on it, right?
Sort of. It had a little gremlin-looking thing on it.
Okay.
Sort of. Yes. But I just thought, like, where's that box of cereal right now?
I know.
Like, I know.
Where
Like,
is
who's
that?
got that one of one box of Freakies from this movie? Like, that's such a cool prop. And I really like movies that like take the time to do a nice little subtle prop thing like that.
Mm-hmm.
This is a weird, kind of a dark, a little bit horror comedy, and they're eating Freakies. Like, I appreciate the extra effort there.
There's also a lot of product placement too.
So much product placement.
Yeah, there was a fair bit. Yeah. Yep. Okay, the garbage man in this movie. One of his quotes: "I hate cul-de-sacs." Thoughts on cul-de-sacs, guys? What do we think of cul-de-sacs?
I live on one as we sit in this house in this basement. But I'm also on the corner lot of the cul-de-sacs. I'm on the end, so I don't quite get the full experience,
Sure,
but
not the
I
full
still get
cul-de-sac.
quite a bit of it.
I've never lived on a cul-de-sac, so I don't really know. But
What even is a cul-de-sac? Is
I
that
don't know.
French?
I
Is that a
don't know.
French word? Cul-de-sac?
cul-de-sac.
Is it
Circular.
Yeah.
Cul-de-sac.
What's the etymology of cul-de-sac?
No one knows. No one could ever know. There's no way we can find out. Oh, I just remembered another product placement. Steel chainsaws was a big product
Oh
placement.
yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
Well,
totally.
the paint was like stole or something like I can't remember what it was, but they're the paint cans every
Did
time
did that bug you when he spilled it on his speakers?
that was so bad. Why?
oh.
It made
that
me
was
hurt.
cringy.
Yeah. So every time you come back to him, the paint cans are turned a little bit more, and you can see the brand name. The syrup, the Aunt Jemima syrup on the table was front and center. The beer cans were, I think, Miller Lite, maybe, but that
They
was
had like a red.
Yeah.
I thought they were like a Schlitz or something.
I can't remember, but
maybe.
it was
Ooh,
that was a
Schlitz.
great
I don't know.
that was a
It's a deep
great
cut.
scene where every time he got angry, like somebody pissed him off, he just crushed
Oh,
two
God.
cans.
He does it
and then he
twice.
does it again. And he's
love
like,
it.
ah. Oh, it's so good.
Borrowed from the French cul-de-sac.
I knew it was French.
Meaning bottom of big sack.
Bottom of the big sack.
Yeah.
We'll just
a bag of sack.
We'll just
leave that there. We will. We'll
Yeah,
just let that
visually,
lie.
yeah, I
There
can
you
get
go.
that.
Glad I don't live on one.
Yeah, the big sack. Okay. All right. Toupees, guys. Toupees. Big part of this movie.
Huge
The
part
toupee,
of this
big
movie.
plot point.
Yeah.
The toupee. Does someone who's 17 years old even know what a toupee is?
Do we have those anymore?
Yeah.
We have those.
It's different, though.
Are
For
do
sure.
people I
Different.
know wear a toupee? Do you think?
I bet
Is
you
there
would
someone
notice.
I know
Yeah,
that
you
They're
has-
probably
so
would
good now.
notice.
I bet you would notice.
I get a lot of them on TikTok, and there are some very in-depth.
So that's the
Very
thing.
in-depth.
That's the
Insane.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll shave the head.
Can
to
you look
make
up the
it
French
fit.
etymology of toupee as well?
I know.
Top of
It's got to
sack.
be. It's got on top of the sack. Yes. I believe that's exactly what it means. Anyways, yeah, I didn't know that was still a thing. I don't know if anyone would even know what that means. That's
I guess
younger
the
than
movie
us.
tells them what it is because
Sure.
you see,
Sure. Anyway, some dark stuff in this movie for PG, guys. I feel like this movie is pushing the limits of PG. You've got and even just the clips. They show clips from The Exorcist and clips from
Oh my
Texas
God.
Chainsaw Massacre.
You guys, though, and also what was the? There was those two. Yeah, oh shit, I had that. I love how he flips channels between like the craziest scenes of the scariest movies
right.
ever.
Right.
And
Yeah.
It's so absurd, but it's perfect.
Yeah.
And it's the way he's just kind of. It doesn't affect him. He's just kind of watching,
And this
He's just-
movie is
he's-
kind of self-aware. It brings up like the movies a
Yeah.
few times, which I don't hate.
But you're right. This movie actually shows like that scene from The Exorcist, and it's like this is PG, and this is after PG-13 exists.
yeah,
So-
right. That is right. Okay, Brian. Earlier you brought up the dream sequence going on a little too long, which I agree with. But holy moly, the poor little Bijan with the axe in the head. Oh my gosh, that gave me a nice laugh. That was,
Yeah.
and I love dogs. You know how much I love dogs, but that was funny.
Yeah, it was
Just
funny.
had
It
his little
was funny
axe.
because it was a dream.
It was
Yeah.
funny because yes.
Yep.
That just gave me a little chuckle. Have you guys ever had a glass of OJ in bed like Tom Hanks?
Only in the 80s.
No, but I hope now.
That's
Yeah.
what you do in the 80s.
I feel like
was
I feel like I had a glass of Tang, maybe. in bed,
definitely Tang.
but
yeah.
like pure, like 100% OJ.
orange juice.
Not sure on that.
I think I've been served breakfast in bed like once in my life, and I'm pretty sure I had OJ during that endeavor.
Okay, so I have a line of dialogue written here. This is Walter. You guys remember that line? And then the camera move
Oh shit!
back and forth.
Yes,
Yes.
Oh
yes,
yeah,
yes,
they're
yes.
outside.
They're like
yeah.
Femur bone. This is Walter.
Yeah.
And it zooms in and out. Yeah.
Not a lot of movies can get away with that.
Not a lot of movies can get away with
Wayne's
that.
World.
And yeah, Wayne's World, absolutely. Yeah,
And then
good-
the way
great call.
that Art stops screaming, and it's perfectly timed when the camera stops doing that hard zoom in and out, and Tom Hanks keeps screaming, and Art stops him.
Yeah,
like I
yeah.
feel like they had to shoot that take several times
I
to get
do
that timing
too.
right.
And I really appreciated
I
that.
loved it. It was
that
funny.
was just really fun. That's just a fun. That's just a director having fun.
Exactly. That
You know?
honestly, all joking aside, that's a scene where a committee is going to remove that scene.
Yeah.
But a singular person who's making a movie is like, fucking, I'm making this movie, and it's just this is what it is. This is the tone. This is what I want. They get to put that in there, and I know there was some pushback, and it stayed in, and God bless them for keeping it in.
How much do you?
Also, Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah. Right.
Big time. How much do you think of this movie was ad libbed or on the cuff, like off the cuff? Like I think some of those shot ideas were like, oh yeah, let's just do something fun. Let's zoom in on everybody's eyes real quick and just do this quick zoom in and out. Like it'll be funny.
I know there were several ad-libbed scenes.
Yeah, I would imagine a lot of this was. Yeah.
I think a couple of particular ones where when they were in the Klopek's house, or no, not Walter's house.
Yeah.
And Art has those cookies, and Corey Feldman comes through the door and knocks I think they came up with that scene on the spot, and I know that one of the famous ones was the scene where Tom Hanks has been blown up at the end. He's like, I've been blown up. I'm sick. Take me to the hospital. He lays down on the stretcher, and then he stands up and he picks up the stretcher and he throws it into the ambulance, and then he jumps onto it and it sort of rolls to the end.
Yeah.
And he just kind of lays there. He ad-libbed that entire thing. That was not in the script.
Really?
He just did it.
Wow.
And I was like, because I remember thinking like, man, that seemed so natural, and it's like, oh, that's why, because he just did it.
I mean,
Yeah.
massive props to Tom Hanks' physical comedy in this. Like that has to be This has to be one of his best
This movie has some
physical
great.
comedy.
And we're gonna
yeah, okay, okay.
We're
All right.
coming to the
yeah.
second funniest thing Tom Hanks has ever done in his entire career in this movie, and it's
Oh,
physical comedy.
shit.
So Brian, you alluded to this earlier, and this is a great Hank scene. The Foley work while he is taking the sardine and eating that sardine.
Perfect.
That
It's
sneeze
so
yeah.
good. It's some of the best Foley work
There's
I've ever heard.
so much Foley with him just grasping at the
Just that
sardine.
He can't get it.
gunky,
And it
Ugh.
gives the movie breathing room to see his expression, cut away to the chick's expressions, and everyone's just kind of like, oh,
and
no,
I
he's
feel
gonna
like
do
has there
this.
been a movie in like the last like 20 years that's like done that kind of thing? You know, like really exaggerated Foley work for like comedic.
It's almost
effect.
as if he
We
was
don't
having.
get great Foley these days.
We don't.
It's almost as if he was having an allergic reaction to eating that
Well,
fish.
So after he eats it, then after he has that weird allergic reaction.
It's
I don't
so
know
good.
how he did that. But man, it's brilliant.
It's pretty good. It's
Yeah.
pretty good. Okay, that wood grain Wagoneer Jeep. Heart symbol.
Yeah.
Heart symbol.
Heart symbol, heart emoji.
Yeah, heart emoji. Yeah, I really that's just a cool car.
What else did I just see? Someone was driving that. A movie we just did. Someone was driving a beautiful wagon. What movie did we just? What did we just do before Blade? What was before Blade?
Leave the world behind.
I don't.
Leave the world behind.
That couldn't be it.
I've been blocking that one out.
I'll think of it. It was a movie I was just watching with my wife.
Okay, here's another one, guys.
Why?
So the Red Rover reference. Did you guys play Red Rover as a kid?
I thought that
a
was
game.
yeah, but that was
Yeah.
kind of weird. They really
What do you
focused
mean?
on that. On Bruce Dern on the roof going,
Yeah.
He's like delighted. He like it shows him and it shows them in the background. He's like, Red Rover, send Art right over. And
Sure.
I didn't get it. Like I know
they-
Red Rover, but I'm like, why?
Well, okay, so Red Rover, for people that need a little context, I'm assuming we're talking about the same. Do you remember Red
It's a
Rover?
playground
Yeah,
game.
the game,
There's
yeah.
two lines of people.
Exactly. You hold hands.
Yep.
And then someone just sprints as hard as they can
Yep.
and try and burst through the hands of the. So, anyways, yeah, I was just curious if that was a game. I guess that is a pretty universal game.
Yeah,
Because,
oh, it was very
we all
universal
played
for me.
Red Rover, but it was actually kind of a little bit of a dangerous physical game.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, all the best
you're
ones as
knocking
a kid
people
were.
over. Yeah. Like dodgeball, not a thing anymore. Yeah, they've ruined.
My kids play dodgeball,
Do they?
Dodgeball was just at the Pro Bowl.
but
this
I bet
weekend.
I wonder
Okay.
in what form they play it.
I feel like. Yeah. Well, I'm out of line here. I don't know.
We used to play a really dangerous game as a kid called. I don't know if I can say the name of this game, Ben.
Nah,
You're gonna
don't.
have to cut this. I'll say the first the words of it. Smear the.
Oh yeah, we played that game.
Okay, we all
Oh,
played
okay,
that.
yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah, yeah,
dangerous.
Yeah.
Kinda. I feel like Red Rover was maybe
Red
more
Rover
dangerous.
would be
'Cause
more
Red Rover
dangerous.
was like because you're playing with girls too. It was like kind of a unisex game.
Yeah.
and sometimes you
Breaking
get like
a lot of wrists.
Big burly boy running through. Kind of a kind of.
You just let go on that one.
Yeah.
You just
Well,
let
I
them
guess
go
yeah.
through.
You just kind of. But the kind of the
Yeah.
more resilient kids.
They're
going to
try
hold on tight.
to really.
They would hold on tight. They'd be punished for it.
I never cared, and I would just be like, "Whoa."
See, I was like, "Fuck you, bitch! I'm not gonna get through.
Lose my
You'll
rotator
get through
cuff.
here."
Yeah.
I love that we got to dangerous schoolyard games somehow.
That's a good band name.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. We've talked about the physical humor in this movie. There's a lot of physical humor in this movie, and actually, a scene we saw about 5 minutes ago that really gave me a good belly laugh. That I feel like we don't get this kind of physical humor much anymore. Is when Rumsfeld just kind of falls off the roof.
Oh my God.
Just that multi-stage fall.
That's
Dude,
the
it's
third funniest scene in this
lovely.
movie.
It looked so real, and it looked like it hurt so
Yep.
bad.
It does, and it probably did. It probably did.
That scene is so funny.
Ray, in the end of the movie, he looks pretty hurt.
Yeah, he's got like a big scar above his ear.
Yeah, I was actually like a little disturbed at how hurt he was.
Yeah.
Like, anyone else get a little? He looked like a boxer that had just been through like 12 rounds of
His
absolute
eye was
punishment.
swollen up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
kind of
was-
started
it was bad.
getting to me. I was
Yeah,
like,
I was like,
man,
he's a little too hurt.
did he really get hurt? I liked that it was real.
It was- oh, we're about to watch the scene, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, we're about to see him real hurt. Here
guys,
he is.
this is the second funniest.
There he is.
This is the second
I want you
funniest
guys-
scene of Tom Hanks' career.
I want you to watch
Okay.
the detail.
It
and
is.
as
It
he-
is.
We're watching Tom
It's-
Hanks glide down the front stairs
yes.
after he's exploded.
And that
in
is-
the-
eyes
that is the word.
completely swollen shut.
The word is glide.
he just surveys the neighborhood.
How does he even mow? That's such what a move. What the fuck? What a move.
He glides down.
He
and it's
glides.
him. This is him. This is not a stunt double.
I don't think he took a step.
No,
He just
glides
literally-
down.
No, he glided down those
and then
three steps.
the entire the entire porch the camera does not cut. Do you realize this?
Yeah.
The
Comes
porch
all the way through.
collapses. So there are some special effects people standing by going, okay, the star is clear of this porch that we're going to collapse without cutting the camera. I think that, I mean, how do they do that?
Yeah.
Like that's
a lot of timing.
There's a lot of liability on that scene.
Yeah, it's a cool scene.
I feel good that we finally talked about the best singular scene in the movie.
Yeah. I found so I've had references to this movie for years, and one of my favorite actors and comedians is Bill Hader, and he has mentioned this movie many of times in interviews I've watched, and that scene specifically is one that he's like, I used to reenact that over and over and over again to see if I can master it, and I now get why he talked about that movie so much, and like he just thought it was the most brilliant comedy. And
I love that he loves this movie.
Oh, it's so good.
Barry makes more sense.
Yeah, it's so funny that now it makes more sense that he's referenced this
great.
movie so much in interviews. Yeah.
So, unlike last episode's movie, what was that shitty movie called?
Leave No Trace.
Yeah, right.
Leave the World.
The World Is Not Enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
That movie was just rife with just ambiguity, right? And I complained about the ambiguity a lot in that movie. This movie also has a lot of ambiguity, but you get an actual resolution. You find out what happened.
The neighbor's not dead.
This is
And
how
I appreciate that.
this is how much he
very
hated
much.
the movie.
Yeah.
That he is bringing it up in other movies. How much he still
True.
hates that movie.
True, Ben. And for the record, I raised my score on that film.
Hey, as long as you don't mention it as
I
much
did.
as Matrix, I'll be all right.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Nick. And I loved, and as much as I loved that movie for its ambiguity, I loved this movie for its resolution and simplicity.
Yeah, there's nothing more I want to know.
This
You
movie-
have put a button on it.
This movie
Thank
feels
you.
so good when the credits roll. You're like, yes, it's like
we're
a
done.
massage.
We're done. Yes. Yep. We have brought this up a few times in Critical Mess, and this happens. I have to say, this happens more often than I thought it did. And now that I'm paying attention to it, I'm seeing it all the time. The title of the film being said in the film. It happens here.
Does it?
It happens here. Hank says it during his rant. During his rant at the end, he
interesting.
says the Burbs. He absolutely does.
Wait, Hank? You say Hank?
Tom Hanks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry.
Yes, sorry. Yeah. Tom Hanks says the Burbs during his rant at the end of the movie. And, you know, we've kind of talked about that. Like, it would be fun to just see a list of movies that say the title of the movie in the movie. And now I'm starting to think every fucking movie
I
says
actually
the title
wonder
of
if
the
it's
movie in the
more
movie.
frequent than we think it is.
I think
I'll
it
be honest.
is.
If it's, I did not even notice it, and so
I
if
didn't
it's
either.
molded in that well, I think that's a good job.
Yeah,
But,
I
yeah.
think it was kind of subtle. I think
Yeah.
it was kind of subtle, but he 100% said it.
I'm like hyper aware of that with a lot of movies.
Yeah,
So.
he says it. He 100% says it. Okay, we've touched on this a little bit, but I think we need to dig into it a little bit more. The twist, the final twist in this movie, man, really good. Thank you. Like,
Loved it.
It's so good, and I feel like once again, I'm sorry guys, but shitting on the movie from last episode, the final twist wasn't there. It just wasn't there. And this movie has not only a final twist, but a 180. It 180s the whole character arc.
Immediately, too.
It completely changes everything we thought we just knew.
Yeah,
And I love that.
I also loved it too because like it was kind of nuanced a little bit. Like Tom Hanks did not see any skulls down in that furnace. Like that didn't even happen. And then the Klopek guy, he's like, I know you saw our furnace down there. I know you know that's not a
The
normal
doctor.
furnace. I know you saw the skulls. And he's like, what are you talking about? So like that kind of seems like a genuine like misunderstanding. You know what I mean?
yeah, totally.
And so I can see how that would happen. It's kind of strange. I don't know. It seems a little bit like, well, where's the how did he just steal the ambulance? But here's what I love. And Nick, I know you say this a lot. Movies that the gunfight at the end or the fight or the titular fight scene, whatever it is, it just takes place like a 30-minute deal. You know what's going to happen. Let's just get to it. I love the fact that in this movie they hijack the ambulance. This movie could have been 20 more minutes of like this chase through like the city and yada yada yada. But instead, Tom Hanks grabs the dude's arm and like they immediately crash into Art's house and it's over. And I'm like, oh, thank God that twist just ended. I loved how quickly it ended.
I think it was one of the best final twists I've ever seen.
Wow, really?
I really do. I don't think I'm not gonna say it's the best, but I think it was just really smart, really fun, really well done. Didn't drag on, and completely subverted expectations. And I loved it. Loved it.
Yeah, oh man, I loved it. So I'm rewatching the end scene now, and this is the second time I've ever watched this movie. I did not catch the part where Tom Hanks lifts up the gurney and throws it in the ambulance
it's hilarious.
and jumps onto it.
Guys,
I didn't catch that.
I think we need to back up for 1 second here and talk about what the final twist is. We haven't even really said what happens. So please, someone.
Tom Hanks has this big epiphany, and he's like, "You guys are fucking idiots. We shouldn't have assumed and judged the book by its cover of these neighbors and said they're murderers when they're just normal people, and we just blew up their house." And so he has this huge speech. It's powerful. He takes the gurney, throws it in the car.
About how they're the assholes.
But did you notice that his wife shuts the door of the ambulance? It's not like emergency people shut it. So he's in that, and then it's not hard for that neighbor to jump in it real quick. So immediately the neighbor, the doctor, what were the neighbors' names?
Just the Klopex.
The Klopex.
You guys, how many times are you going to ask me
We're going
that?
to keep asking you until the end. So he jumps into the ambulance and has this moment. I think that is kind of it works. Like there's no emergency help that got him into the ambulance or anything. He just jumped in it himself.
But that's the twist.
That's the twist. It's like he has this conversation.
The twist is that we all assumed wrongly about these people. There's the huge climax of like the speech. We're the assholes for judging them.
Yep.
Right.
Could have ended the movie there, and yet we find out the Klopex are murderers.
They are
murder
murderers.
the people that they bought the house from, and that wasn't the femur, because that was the subverting of expectations. The whole time, the whole movie, Walter's gone. Toupee's there, then the Toupee's in the Klopex house.
It was a perfect.
So we're thinking, oh
what do you
God,
call
they
that?
killed Walter. Yeah, and so then Walter comes home, and then they go in and burn their house down, and they hit the gas line. There's no buried bodies, and we're thinking, all right, we were all wrong about them, and then we find out the femur is I remember their names,
past neighbors,
the people that they bought the house from, and they really are murderers. So that's the answer. That's the twist.
I love it.
It's great.
I love it. So
There's
much.
a funky. I only watched this once. So the funny scene is the doctor is like strangling him in the back of the ambulance, and somebody gets in it and starts driving. Was it the son?
It's the Henry
the
Gibson,
son.
or not Henry Gibson, the Pinocchio guy.
So when he jumps into the car, and you see that Tom Hanks is like strangling the other guy, and he's holding the needle back with one hand, and he's trying to fight him to the other hand, and so he only has two hands. So the other guy has a needle in his hand, and he's trying to inject him with something that looks like a green goo. And then he somehow takes those two hands, reaches to the front seat, and averts the car and the driver at the same time. So he obviously has four hands.
Oh, you're nitpicking.
It's
now.
I thought it was so funny,
come
but I
on.
did notice it the first time watching it, and I just laughed. I thought it was hilarious that you just see him magically grow two more
Maybe
hands.
he like takes a break from the needle and goes to the guy and comes back to the needle or something.
Maybe. I don't know. It's great.
So can you guys clear this up for me? And I'm sure I just wasn't watching close enough, but so Corey Feldman, does he like own a house? What is he?
Where are
what
his
is-
parents?
What is going on there?
I was thinking the whole time, is Art just a single neighbor that lives in this house, and does Corey Feldman just own this house across the street? Then at the very end, Art's wife comes home.
Yeah.
He's like, my wife, and then Corey Feldman just like, pizza dude, does he just own a house by himself?
I thought he was
I
just
don't
there
know.
working on it. Like he was.
Oh, he didn't
house
live
sitting
there?
it, and he was
Clearly
painting
working.
it.
Yeah,
he was
that
working
makes
on it.
Yeah, yeah.
So I
That's
thought
what
he was just
doing.
I thought he was house
There are
sitting.
paint
But
cans
why was he
around.
there all the time?
I think he was
like
just
you're
there,
just working
like,
on the house. You
it's-
shouldn't live there.
No, but yeah, I don't know. I have friends
there
that house,
all night?
I
He's
like,
there
how
all day?
I like how at one point in the movie you see the columns on the porch. One of them's half painted red and the other's half painted
Yeah, they're
blue.
shittily
After 3
painted.
days of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah.
We alluded to this earlier, but also speaking of Feldman, the fourth wall breaks. Right, there's a nice fourth wall break at the end. God, I love this street.
God, I love this
is
street.
the last line, and you know what? I like it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy it.
It worked for me.
Yeah, worked for me too.
Absolutely.
There's a really funny scene towards the end here where Rumsfeld sees Pinocchio, as he calls him.
Hans.
Hans. They crash the ambulance into the house. Hans is running away. I think it's about to come on screen here. And Rumsfeld's like, you're not getting away or whatever. Have you guys, like this scene here, if you analyze this for me, was this intentional or a mistake? He runs away, and Rumsfeld, he doesn't just go tackle him. Like in a normal movie,
No.
he's running, Rumsfeld tackles him. Instead, he slips, he gets up, Rumsfeld slips, and
It's good. It's just really good slapstick.
It's great slapstick.
It is.
I actually did notice that, and I thought it was just maybe like a stunt thing where you would slide tackle versus full tackle.
That seems like a
but
hard scene to do because the timing has to be
But
just
the
right.
best part was
yeah.
like the first guy slides on the wet grass, and then the second guy slides on the
Yeah.
second grass, and it just happened to be an accidental. He tackles him too.
I think it was intentional, but just really well done.
Yeah. Really well done.
In another movie, there's 4 cuts on
Yeah,
that scene.
sure.
When you have
Yeah.
one scene, it's so much funnier.
All right, guys, we're to my last slow burn here. I love this is something that I never see anymore, and please, I hope there's a new movie that proves me wrong. But I love when the credits like show a clip of the performance with the
I do
actor's
too.
name.
I love that.
Just a brief shot of the actor and then their name, and then move to the
Carrie
next one,
Fisher, Tom Hanks. It's so good.
It's so classy.
Did
That just
Charlie
feels
Wade do
classy
that?
as hell.
And they all do. They is it?
Dazed and Confused does that, I think, at the end.
I can't remember. I've only
I
seen
just
this.
love that because it takes you on a little like walk back through the movie.
Do they break the fourth wall too, or is it just another scene?
Dazed and Confused? No.
It's just a
No.
scene, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, I love that. I
I
just
do
think that's
too.
really cool.
Really
And
nice.
you don't see it anymore.
This reminds me of the end of Die Hard.
Yeah, kind of.
Holy
Yeah,
shit,
totally.
yes.
It totally does. Yeah,
That's
just kind
so
of
good.
kind of
Look
the
at all the
walk away
neighbor-
with the you got the woman and you're
Yeah.
just kind of walking away from the scene.
Did you guys notice how
Yeah.
many people are in this scene? All the neighbors are riding their bikes to come see what's going on. This lady with the luggage, like the wife comes back.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I also we didn't talk about Rumsfeld's wife is just a fox,
Yeah.
like, and that's so on brand for him. I feel like.
Totally.
Also, you guys remember the scene when Carrie Fisher's had enough and Ray's up like on the balcony and they're like, can Ray come out? Can Ray come out and play?
Yeah.
And she's like, not until he resembles the man I married. And Art's like, we don't have that kind of time.
Good line. Really good line.
Forgot to mention that. Guys, my last thing I want to say about this movie is I've got a hot take here. I don't think Ray ever wakes up from his nightmare. You remember he has the nightmare.
Yeah.
It's a long nightmare. The camera zooms into his mouth, and you do not have that scene that every other movie has where the person wakes up from the nightmare.
Jolts
Yeah,
away.
right.
You literally have a very slow kind of fade to a scene and kind of
Yeah.
slow pan over to this delirious sort of Tom
Yeah.
Hanks drinking orange juice in bed.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, and I actually this time I watched it, I was thinking, oh, he's in a nightmare in a nightmare. Like he's actually gonna wake up here soon, and he doesn't. And
Yeah.
then everything in the movie after that's absurd. My hot take.
I mean, yeah,
he
that's
never
a great
wakes up
take.
from
I
the
like
nightmare,
that.
and everything after that is does not actually happen.
Now, I would say that the kind of him getting into the nightmare is very ambiguous as well. So getting in and out, I think I could say. But anyways, I don't agree with that's what happened, but I love that thought.
That is a
I think
great
that's a really great
concept.
thought.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a theory that Corey Feldman is telling the whole story, and it's just from his point of view.
Yeah.
So he's
That's why-
embellishing everything.
Yeah, embellishing
because he is
everything. That's-
extreme. He's,
yeah.
That's also
I'm jealous.
why everyone's out on their front lawns all the time, because that's what
sure.
he observes.
He's maybe recounting this story to
Sure.
somebody
Yeah.
from the past.
Gosh, I feel like if he was a little bit better established. Like
Right.
he started the film. Like he was the
Yeah.
first character you see.
Yeah, like
Because Ray
I
starts
could-
the film. The
right,
whole thing
yes.
starts
I could
with
buy that
Ray.
a little more, but I
Yeah.
think that's really interesting too.
yeah, like
Yeah.
Ferris
Super
Bueller,
Yeah.
something like that,
So maybe it's Corey Feldman's nightmare.
Maybe.
or recollection of a terrible idea that he just doesn't remember.
All right, any more slow burning, guys? Did we burn it down tonight? think we
I kind of
burned
wanted to ask you guys.
it. Yeah.
Growing up, who was the Kocheks? What is his name? What is it?
Klopek.
Klopex.
God, how the fuck? How can you guys, not
I only asked
know
one
that
time.
name?
I only asked once.
What is it? Kopex?
They're Polish, right?
Yeah.
Kopex, yeah. That's good.
Klopex. Who are Klopex?
Don't you don't have to say their names if you knew it.
Oh, I
but,
will.
Describe the person in your neighborhood that was like the mystery people that were the weirdos.
Well, there was a very scary lady that lived nearby. Her name is Cordy. And when we walked onto her front
Scary
lawn,
name.
she used to like blow the siren and like yell at us to get off her lawn from inside her house. We couldn't see her. And it kind of became a meme.
Yeah, I grew
So,
up in
a little different.
in Pleasantville. I was
Oh, yeah?
West Indy, motherfucker. It was rough.
Yeah, no, I
I
didn't.
grew up in West India.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys lived near each other, right?
Wait, where'd
Yeah.
you grow up?
I grew up at like 10th and girls' school.
Okay. That's
kind of by that Burger King.
Well, I grew up in West Indianapolis, the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Nice.
Morrison Harding.
Well, I might have the best example of this movie, and it hit home because we had neighbors, the Harmons. My dad grew up with a lot of the siblings, but they owned a rundown, disgusting looking house, and they own hundreds of acres here in Zionsville. So they're worth a large amount of money in this town. So it's funny that their house burned down to the ground and they moved into their second shanty style house down the street, and they still live there today
So you grew up, where'd you grow up?
here in Zionsville.
Zionsville. And Nick, where'd you grow up? Pleasantville?
Yeah, Pleasantville, yeah.
Where exactly in
Yeah,
Pleasantville?
northeast side of Indy.
Northeast side of Indy. So from hardest core least to most, it goes Gris, Nick, Ben, me.
That's fair.
Yeah, for sure.
Mine was just the neighbor across the street had like cars in his yard all the time that were never working.
Oh, for sure.
Their dogs were always outside. They never came outside, and so like all of the neighborhood kids were like scared of them.
Yeah.
And we'd
So
never
this sounds
go.
like 4 out of 5 of the current houses in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Probably, yes.
But it's
A lot
funny
of cars that don't work.
Dude,
Yeah.
this movie was awesome. I loved it so much. But like just thinking of the Harmons the whole time of how much we looked at them, and like I still wave to them to this day, and they still work their farm, and it's just weird to see somebody that lives in this disgusting, just like dilapidated home, just like they do, and that you're just like, it's such a mystery to like, all right, what are they like on the inside of that house? Like, ugh.
I'm sure they're lovely people.
Oh, they're really wonderful people.
Their name starts with harm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm.
Might be a
Well,
little
maybe it's
skeptical.
Harmony.
Harmony. Hey, there you go.
Anyway.
Our resident
Way
copywriter.
to flip the way
there
to
you go.
glass half full it.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you, everyone who made it this far in the episode. We really appreciate you listening. We love you very much. And we are going to do another episode. We always threaten to do another episode, and we're going to do another episode. And that episode is going to be on a movie that I think we're going to have some passionate, could I even say maybe on fire opinions about?
Ooh.
We might be a little on fire for this film. We'll see. But it's going to be the Tony Scott film.
We finally get to talk about Denzel.
Yes, we get to talk, and Tony Scott, which I'm hyped about both, quite frankly. We're going to be talking about Man on Fire, and I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited. So next episode, that's what we'll be chatting about. You can see us on or connect with us or talk with us on social media at http:// www.instagram.com/Critical Mess Crew.
Critical Mass Crew.
That's it.
Critical Mess
At
Crew.
Critical Mess Crew.
So holler at us. Leave a comment. We'll read it.
And you can see
I promise,
some of
we'll read
Gris's absolutely stunning graphic design, man. It's
Yeah, this guy's got
it's
talent,
just a
people.
Feast for the
Photos
eyes
of you
over there.
guys. Yeah. Nice
As
pictures.
good as Nick's descriptions of our episodes are, Gris's design work is. I don't know why I'm here.
It's good shit. It's good shit.
I got to do something.
All right, everybody. We really appreciate you listening, and we're gonna catch you on the flip.
Later.
See ya.